Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the ContinueCast, the twice monthly podcast where we play an old school game and tell you if we would continue our game over. My name is Paul.
My name is Nick.
I'm Josh.
And we have a very special guest with us today. A different special guest with us today.
What?
Unbelievable.
It's happening.
I'm not so different from last time.
Well, you are.
Well, shut up. You're
very
ruining everything.
It's me, Mike Sadorf again. Hey! So turn the podcast off now.
Don't do that.
No, dude, listen to
Oh,
the
Mike
podcast.
Steamroller Sado.
That's what they call me, the old steamroller.
Yo, we
We've-
got steamrolled.
We've given Mike a mild sedative tonight, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that sedative's called Week of Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy hell.
Yeah, we hinted at that at the end of the last one,
We did.
didn't we?
Yeah, we
I
did.
don't think anybody really mentioned that we hinted at it.
No, they didn't.
I didn't see
Maybe because
that.
nobody actually listens to the end of the podcast.
No.
Probably.
Probably. Well, they turned it
probably
off
is.
because they heard me.
No,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Look, guys, every show needs a villain.
What?
Here I am.
It's true.
Here I am.
It's
We already
not-
have a Luke. We already
Yeah.
have a Luke, Mike.
We got Luke.
I killed Luke.
Oh, shit. He's stronger than Luke.
Oh my god.
I'm the, who was the villain in Mortal Kombat 2?
Luke.
Kano.
Shere Khan? Shere Khan? Was that the
Shere
bad
Khan.
Shao Kahn.
What was Shere Khan?
Shao Kahn.
Shaka Khan.
No.
Shao Kahn.
It was Shao
Persepolis Khan.
Sun Tzu. That was
Yeah, it
Sun
was
Tzu.
a video
The
game.
Art
Who
of
cares?
War.
All right, let's get back
I
to
just
this.
made an
all
Infinite
villains.
Jest reference. I make way too many Infinite Jest references.
Oh, Paul,
Nobody
you and
will get-
your effort justification.
Nobody will get it.
Yeah, you make like really smart references.
No,
and
that's
we're
dumb
just like,
because nobody will get it.
we just sit there and we're like, yeah, that's the thing, right? And then we're like, barbed wire boobs, and we're like, ah! Everybody's seen that.
She had a barbed wire tattoo around her arm
Yeah.
in the movie Barbed Wire.
That's how she
And
got
she
it.
got
Oh.
it for real. It shows her commitment to the character. Getting a tattoo.
Barbed Wire's commitment to playing barbed wire.
Yeah.
My computer just restarted.
That's the sound of a Mac starting up.
Oh my
That
god.
means it's time to start the show, Paul.
I was going through my movie stubs and I found my barbed wire ticket stub.
You went to
and I
see
was-
that in the theater?
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
I did too.
Titties.
It was rated R, and
I
Pamela
saw those
Anderson's tits were in
titties.
it.
I saw those titties every day after school on fucking Beach Watch. I'm calling
Yeah,
it Beach Watch.
Beach Watch the show.
Because we're not allowed to say the name of the actual show due to copyright.
Oh, really?
Beach
I didn't
Watch.
know.
We
It's the only show.
Beach
yeah.
Watch Nights.
No, but wouldn't it be better as Beach Watch anyway? Because who fucking swims in the bay?
Yeah, Baywatch. Ugh,
Who swims in
so
the
gross.
bay? Maybe it's a Jersey thing. Maybe only Jersey. Has
Yeah, in New Jersey
shitty
they
days.
dump toxic waste in the bay, but in Malibu, I'm sure the bay is a little bit different.
There's not a bay. I guess like San Francisco Bay.
San Francisco's all the bay.
yeah, but it
that
was Malibu, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was California.
Yeah, they got bays in California.
Malibu, California.
Malibu, California.
Not Malibu, New Jersey.
Not to be.
we have
Home
one of those.
Home of something retarded because it's in New Jersey.
We have a Malibu.
Syringes floating in water in a bay.
Yeah, we have one.
Is there a Malibu in Florida?
I'm gonna say yeah, there is. I
Yeah.
think.
Why is there a
I think
Malibu
there's like a
everywhere?
Hollywood,
Inglewood.
Florida.
There was like a
Yeah.
Malibu in my parents' driveway forever. Wah, wah. Can we?
I
Let's
make
get
car
going before everybody
references that
blames.
nobody gets.
Yeah, see, there's my infinite jest joke. All right, let's get going before everybody blames me for being off the rails.
This
again.
week we're talking about Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Kotor.
But before we dive into
What's
it,
our sponsor today? It's just coffee.
it's just coffee,
Yeah.
and Mike's not drinking it. 'Cause
No,
he's-
I hate
he's not
coffee.
in
I
it.
hate Monster. I hate Luke. I hate you guys. I hate the fans. I hate the listeners. I hate everybody. So
podcast is really good. So
Best
far.
villain ever.
Dude,
he's full of hate.
that was like 2 seconds from punching
He
the baby.
really. You guys better put a leash on him.
Keep
Because
hating
people
because
hate him.
it gives me time to drink my coffee.
I am only reciprocating the hate that was. No, I'm just kidding. For everybody who gave constructive criticism feedback about me being on the last show, I actually was directed towards your comments and I read them and I honestly took them to heart. This is a podcast we're doing for you guys, and I want to make sure you're entertained.
No,
and
what-
it was my
here's-
first time. We got to get a rhythm.
No, here's what people don't
Nick's
understand, right?
Nick's about to defend me
I
against
am.
all of you listeners,
This
even though I was just about to apologize for my actions.
This is everyone's first impression. I'm like, wow, that guy talks a lot.
I do talk a lot.
And you're kind
though.
of like, it's intimidating because you're like, wow, that guy. Take a breath.
It's
kid.
tough. It's tough
But then the
to-
second time,
yeah.
you're like, I'll listen to that kid for hours.
No, it's tough to resolve their Asperger's with me talking so much and being so well adjusted.
This kid really wants to be a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jesus.
like, if you're an introvert and socially retarded, and I'm this well-adjusted, functional, successful adult who's on a podcast that thousands of people listen to, and all you can do is leave one comment on Reddit, that's not.
God.
I'm kidding. That's your worst nightmare, hearing all that, isn't it?
I'm just watching like the SS continue just like sinking. I'm just like, no, everything we built.
No, I read. I think I read every comment that I could about the last
Welcome
podcast.
to my world, Mike.
No, but yes, I'm gonna say I had heard that there was some negative feedback. Or
Well, dude, you're
perceived
new.
negative
You're new,
feedback.
Mike,
I
and
wanna
that's
make-
what's going to happen.
I want to make sure everybody is comfortable and entertained. And
Well, dude, last week or 2 weeks ago was fucking insane for us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're launching our Kickstarter for our new show.
Holy shit.
Getting that ready. So it was kind of like hey, let's bring on this guy that talks a lot.
Yeah.
So it could be a little lifting for
Well,
us.
and also I'll say this too. Like
Pick up the slack
when
a
Mike
bit.
showed up, it was like he was
also,
like
Luke wasn't here.
Luke wasn't here. But when Mike
It's
when
because I
Mike showed
killed
up,
him.
Mike
Luke's dead. Like, Luke's dead forever now. He's not dead from one week to the next. He's dead forever.
Legitimately
Mike
dead.
Mike showed up with a shit ton of notes and a book and like all
He
this
did his
shit.
research.
He did his research.
We do a constructive podcast where we only talk about the video game, and we talk about it in the first 2 minutes.
And I was like, okay, I'll be prepared for that, you guys.
Yes.
And then we're here and we're like, our boner's funny. Yeah. We're high-fiving around
Mike's
the
just like,
table.
but I have all these notes.
No, I'm just kidding. It
But
was
I have to use these notes.
I wrote them.
because they're mine. Because they're mine.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. But before we get into that, we need to talk about
Paul, what's next week's game?
next week's game.
What is next week's game?
I think
Paul?
people are gonna be really psyched, just ecstatic.
I think
about this
you're gonna
game.
really like it.
I think so. We're playing Metal Gear Solid.
Wow!
People like that game.
People do like that game.
They sure do.
I like that
about
game.
People like those games.
Are we gonna do full disclosure here? Because I played it.
I
when
played it
was
as
gonna
well.
be-
I've never played it.
Interesting.
Josh has never
this will
played
be
it.
great.
Played
I haven't played it in 10 years.
You haven't played it in 10 years?
10 years?
Well, yeah, I haven't played it since it came
Yeah,
out.
10,
probably.
15 years, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. Josh, when you
I think
start
I
playing,
tried-
you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
most
at first you'll be like,
Who the fuck is this guy? What does this guy have to do with this guy?"
well, at first you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm sneaking into this place,
Mm-hmm.
cool. And then you're gonna meet all these people and you're gonna be like, why are they just hanging out in this military base? And then you're gonna be like, why does that guy like anime so much?
It's like somebody got like a box of VHS tapes and like tripped, and they all shattered apart, and like the reels got all cut up. So he's like, "Oh fuck, I gotta put this action movie together."
What kind of
So he just-
insane metaphor are you drawing out?
I'm saying
right now?
It's twins. Spoilers. Meets Mission Impossible 2. Even though
Okay.
that came
Meets
out
Die Hard.
afterwards.
it's
Meets
twins
Die Hard.
that's not funny, by the way.
It's not funny twins. It's
So
Cam
twins.
It's David Hayter and Cam Clark twins, which is
Okay.
not as funny as
Bosom
Big
Buddies.
Twin and Little Twin.
So
gonna be a mess.
I'm going to
It's
play
gonna
the
be a mess.
game, and we'll
Maybe other
see.
people haven't played it. Maybe there are listeners of this podcast who were born after that game was released.
most
Probably.
Oh yeah, of course.
Wrap your head around that one.
Even though I don't recognize them as humans.
No, not yet. They need
No, they haven't
citizenship
earned their
first.
citizenship at all.
No.
No.
I know they have to go to war against the bugs
gotta fight
before they
the
can
bugs.
be citizens.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more?
No, well, I think there's going to be plenty of people that haven't played it. But
Metal Gear Solid, the original release on the PlayStation.
the one that's on the
PSX.
PlayStation, but there's also PC version. There's a HD version for PS3.
And if you have to settle for Twin Snakes on GameCube, I guess that's okay.
What is that? What is Twin Snakes?
It's like John Woo redirected. It's a redux of the game.
Oh, I wish you could see my face.
It's
As
terrible.
it was like, I'm listening, and then it was like, ah.
It's actually just
it was
like
it was
Mission
a,
Impossible
like
2.
a lemon lime.
Why are you hating
my
on
mouth.
John Woo?
No, I like John Woo, but like,
What do you got against Doves, bro?
no, I like Doves, man. It's
Doves.
just like,
Twin Snakes is just like,
J-dubs.
what if we remade it on steroids? Because that makes everything better.
so they just didn't have
Yeah.
a
The
story.
The graphics are redone, and like instead of being like a
You can hide
a
bodies.
subtle, instead of being
You
like a
can hide bodies in the
subtle,
other one, too.
understated action
Not
game,
the same way though.
Oh.
yeah,
You could put him in lockers.
in lockers and shit.
You could do it in the first one too.
You can do backflips.
No,
in
you
that
can't
one.
put it
Well,
in
I mean, he
lockers
does
in the first one.
backflips.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can interact with the bodies in the first one.
Yeah, you can pick
You
them
can
up and
drag
them.
them.
Oh, drag them. That's it. But you can't.
can
You can't
drag
put them away
them.
because they came up in PS2. They had the second one came out. The second Metal Gear Solid came out, and
Yeah.
that's when he was like, "Oh, you can put guys in lockers and
That
stuff
game
like
is
that."
horrendous.
And I didn't think it was that bad. I liked Raiden.
I don't need to play the game.
Maybe we should be talking about that one
Yeah,
next.
why don't we save this conversation?
Okay, but let's talk
I
about
think I
Star
just
Wars.
played
now.
all the game. Let's go to next week's podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
yeah,
podcast.
what game were we playing the week after that?
You fucking wish it was that easy, Josh. You wish it was that simple.
I hope
I
people
do.
like Metal Gear Solid and that we're playing it and that we're gonna have fun playing it.
Yeah.
And talking about it.
Yes.
On the podcast, I'm stalling for time while Paul gets his stuff ready for the next.
I'm ready.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
ready.
go
We're
ahead.
ready. We're ready to
It's
go.
called filling dead air, Mike.
Sorry, go ahead.
We're gonna dive into KOTOR now. So where we last left off, all of us had
Previously on ContinueCast.
had we all played this before?
I
No.
never played it before.
I never played it before.
Okay, you guys both hadn't played it before.
No, I had not.
No, Mike bought it, but never played it.
But yep,
Oh, that's right. That was your first opportunity.
He
to
was.
play it.
It was mint in box, and he ruined
That's
it.
right.
whatever.
Better save that one. 'cause it's gonna be
Dead
worth
for a long
money.
time. Quote Joe Sadorf.
But we left off, and I mean, I think we all were feeling decently enough about the game, right? I mean, I liked it. I liked my first experience with it.
I love this game.
I liked it. I did like it last podcast.
Right.
Now you don't.
Now I don't.
Spoilers, dude.
Oh shit!
Oops.
Nick, how are you feeling about it?
Got
where
to the
we
end of the
left
show.
off?
Yeah, you know what? I can take it or leave it. It's
You don't have to telegraph the end of the show. I was just saying. I was saying where you left off last time. How you felt about it?
take it or leave it last time.
Were you?
I feel like I was. I was like, I'm
were.
interested.
No, you were.
I was
That's
like,
a great.
Josh wants you to
Runaway
turn in your
song.
lightsaber because he's
I
like,
got
no Star Wars fan.
turn in my nerd card.
Like this game.
If you don't like this game, you should just go fuck yourself.
I'm interested in hearing what Josh has to say about this game. And I'm
Yeah.
not kidding, because last time we didn't give him a lot of room to breathe, but also he has a lot of bigger things to say about it.
Let's dive into the story.
Cool.
Okay.
I think David King said this, and let's see if you can corroborate it,
King
Josh.
of all Davids.
King of all David said,
Are all
everything
your
you'd
fans
hope
named
for...
David King?
Yes.
Yes.
Everything you'd hope from a Star Wars movie in game form. Would you agree with that, Josh?
I would totally agree with it.
Yeah?
I think it has a lot more darkness to it than the prequels did.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can't say so much. I mean, the originals are pretty dark.
I mean,
Empire's
two is
dark.
dark. Yeah, Empire. I call it
One's
two.
pretty dark.
No, Jedi is. Everybody gets on Jedi.
Jedi's not that dark.
because of the Ewoks, but I think the Ewoks softened up the darker tone of that movie.
Yeah, but he buries his
Yeah,
dad at
yeah.
the end.
right, people. I don't know what to hate about that movie.
All the stuff with
either.
with Vader and Luke, and when that whole like end of the movie where he's sitting there and he's just like, his dad's like, "You're gonna fucking turn."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Empire's like, "You're fucking a piece of shit. You're gonna be on
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
side
dude.
soon."
Yeah.
That's
It's
pretty dark.
terrifying.
Yeah, that is pretty dark.
Yeah.
The Empire's like a perfect movie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's like a perfect.
Oh,
film.
absolutely.
This is a great.
Dark middle chapter. Duh.
This is a great adaptation of what Star Wars could be
Why don't
forever.
Why don't you? Yeah. Why don't you delve into the story some more?
Okay, so I don't know. This is a total spoiler episode. So if you haven't played it yet, you're dumb, and I don't know why.
if
You get
haven't
2
pla-
weeks.
Yeah, if you haven't played it yet,
You
you
fucked
should
up.
pause this and go play the game, and then listen
back.
through both
And
podcasts.
right. So in the beginning of the game, you're on a ship, and you wake up, and you're like just some regular guy, and you're like, or a girl, whoever
Or
you
a
play.
girl. Yeah.
Canon is male, human male, whatever. I think you're gonna be
Scoundrel?
human. Whatever you want to be.
Are you supposed to be a scoundrel? It doesn't matter. What
Doesn't
class.
matter.
Okay.
But so you wake up and you go on an adventure, like in Star Wars.
It's like that
There's
story
ships and robots
in every movie.
I'm gonna say this. I don't like when something presents like an option in a game and then says that only one thing actually counts, though.
Yeah,
Like
but
what?
since this is a story foremost, it has to have a real canon, like an actual event has to have happened.
Yeah, one
Why?
thing has to
because if
work in continuity with other things.
Right.
One thing has to be true.
Why
and the
couldn't it
others-
be like an alternate universe thing?
no,
Well, now,
that's
you're
stupid.
talking about some community shit. talking about
No,
the
Paul,
darkest
that's
timeline.
dumb.
But don't you think it undervalues?
no story has ever been written.
Don't you think
that
it
way.
undervalues the freedoms that they purport to give you throughout the rest of the game by doing that?
Yeah,
they,
but
they
it's
shouldn't
not
have made it a
about
Star
you.
Wars game. If that's what they wanted to do, they shouldn't have made it a Star Wars game then.
Wow.
Also,
Well,
the
then,
story's not
then
about
they were
you.
just cash grabbing. So this game's just a cash grab.
Keep saying it until he hears you.
No,
Yeah. It's a Star Wars game. It's Star Wars, Paul. Star Wars. It's based out of Star Wars. It's a cash
I'll
grab.
tell you why it has to have a certain thing because the universe.
Well, I
is
understand the
bigger
rules
than,
behind canon and like
Right.
what making something canon.
Right.
I'm just saying I think it's dumb.
Well, there are
are-
things that have had to happen that happened in other games that you needed to.
Yeah,
make
I'm
it.
gonna agree and argue with you at the same time because that's what I'm great at. So Paul, this is direct at. So you were saying you don't like the game because not because of the bait and switch, but because you feel like the wool's been pulled over your eyes. It's like oh, you have all this freedom just to do one thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
What's the one
almost every game ultimately.
Well, no.
you arrive in one-
It's fine. It's fine if you give me like player autonomy to do a bunch of things before I get to an inevitable endpoint. That's fine. But when you go, but if you played it as a girl, it's not canon. That's not
Okay,
You
yeah.
didn't do the real Star Wars.
I agree with you on that.
I think
that
that's
kinda-
dumb.
That
Right.
is dumb.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Don't give me that option.
Femshep.
Don't give me that. Yeah.
Remember
Well,
we said
what's
we were
the,
gonna
what's
play-
the canon in that game? What is there none?
Is it a guy? Luke's told me this.
I think it's a
times.
guy.
Remember, I said I was going to play
Fireway.
Mission
it's the
Impossible
guy on the
2.
cover.
What's it called?
It's
Mass
the guy on
Effect 2?
the guy on the cover is
Yeah.
the canon Shepherd.
Shepherd.
But
Doesn't everybody love Femshep? I know last time we said, maybe we'll give Mass Effect a try. Just didn't have time. Didn't have time to finish this game.
Yeah,
Just
it'd be cool to do it for the podcast.
because of like Kickstarter and our future and everything.
Yeah.
Trying to entertain all these kids.
decisions about what we're doing with our dumb, meaningless lives.
But enough arguing about canon, though. Continue with your story breakdown.
Yeah, so you go on an adventure, and then you got to save a Jedi who is a woman named Bastila. That's canon. She is a woman. You don't get to pick that one.
Right. She has battle
She
meditation.
has battle which is a thing.
Which is fucking badass.
It's a thing in...
When they talk about that, and you just imagine there's just some like chick who's just sitting there being like, I'm fucking running this battle shit. Like, there's just like thousands upon thousands of people fighting, and there's just one little like it's fucking. That's awesome.
Do they show it in the game ever or no? Do they just talk about it?
Yeah,
What is it? What
I
is
haven't
it?
got
She does
That's
it
some
at the
deep
end.
shaman
Oh,
shit. You
okay.
don't remember that?
I didn't get that far in this.
You didn't get that far. It's very. You didn't beat the tutorial.
She's like a...
That's all. It was like you
No,
beat the tutorial.
he was probably
I was doing
bashing
a lot.
that B button.
I was doing a
Yep.
lot of things while I was playing this
I
game.
know. Yeah. Well, let's be full disclosure. We didn't get super far in this game because
didn't
there were
get
a
very
lot of things happening for us. But
I'll bookend that and also say because it wasn't such a compelling game experience that I felt like I needed to make time for it.
You were just waiting. You're not. You're skipping the whole show. You're skipping the whole show.
No, because I have really awful things to say at the end.
Is it after Terrace? Is it before Terrace?
what's that?
What,
A battle
when she
meditation thing?
Well, she's the only one who can do it that is a Jedi.
Karth tells you about it when
Yeah.
you first end up in the apartment.
That's why
you
she's
gotta
so
learn about it
important.
from talking to people.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. You're just matching.
Oh, so you were just mashing through it? Oh, that's why.
I'm just trying to get somewhere.
Yeah. I knew you were doing that. When I was listening to the conversation, I was like, Nick's
Well,
not
that's
listening
strange
to this.
because you like
I love this stuff.
you love Star Wars and you love
This is
movies.
exactly
and
this
is a
game was
movie.
made just for Nick.
Here's this is why I'm like the worst video game person ever. Right? So I remember. I know Mike from college, and
Hello.
Mike, you were like, you never played Halo? You gotta play Halo.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to shoot people. I'm not really into first person. You're like, no, it's more than that. And I was like, okay, well what's it about?
This is back when like Halo was like
The first game. We're talking about just the
Halo
first
1.
game. Yeah.
And you're like,
When Halo 2 didn't come out and ruin everything. Right.
yeah, when you're like, oh, and Mike's like, oh my god, it's about this and it's about this, and I was like, oh man, that sounds great. Keep telling me more. And he told me like the whole thing. And like,
I think I told you the whole thing.
You told me the mythology. Like you told me Halo. And
We sat there for like 3 hours. I think I told you.
yeah,
the
and you
whole
were like,
story. Yep.
and then Halo happens, and I was like, oh man,
And Halo fights the
sounds
Halo.
great. Yeah, I was like, Halo sounds great.
It's the Halo.
And then you were like, I was like, well, how long does it take to do all that? And you're like, I don't know,
Yeah, 10 hours maybe at most.
10 hours.
At most, I guess.
I was like 10 hours. I was like, it's much more entertaining for me. You
That's
to
like 5
tell me
movies.
about it. I like the mythology of it. I don't want to do the bullshit to get to the mythology.
right. You know what?
But so you don't like the nitty gritty like dialogue stuff?
Yeah, like
Is that why you skipped through all the dialogue?
I've actually been really excited for this part of the podcast because I really want Josh to tell me
the story.
the stories of
Same
things.
here.
And we're not letting him.
That's
right?
fine.
No. But that's what I'm excited. I'm excited to hear that part.
Hold on, I'll explain the
I don't
battle
wanna go through
meditation.
the
yeah,
bullshit
yeah.
to
The
get
battle
to it.
meditation is fucking sweet. It's like some shaman ass shit.
Okay.
It's like you got this battle going on with thousands of people, and then you have this Jedi off to the side just meditating.
Okay.
And she is controlling the morale of the troops, either bolstering her own troops'
pretty
morale or breaking the morale of the other troops. And
Yeah.
that
That's
shit
cool.
is badass.
That's pretty cool.
That's
man.
cool.
That's why
There's knowledge
Bastila
of
is
power.
important in
That's
the
cool.
story.
Because
She's
she's the most
only
magical.
one.
She's like a living
right.
newsreel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Indeed.
She's like
a
propaganda.
living
Indeed.
propaganda.
She's
Okay.
got that. She's got
All
that
right.
voice. That
You guys got
that
me.
old time talkie
How
voice.
far
in
do
her
you have to
head.
play to get to that part?
All three,
Talks like Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah, in her head.
the 3 of us understand. you.
Darth Revan.
Rally at us. Rally.
So yes, so she's got battle meditation. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's why you have to go rescue
And nobody
her.
else has this.
She is the only Jedi who can do it. The Sith
Okay.
use it a lot. And
Gotcha.
before this, there's a whole slew of shit that happens with Sith Lords using it, and
Okay.
that's super complicated.
Okay.
But that's why you have to go get her. So you crash land on Terrace, and you're like, oh no, she got separated from the group or whatever.
Typical.
Okay.
So yeah, so you gotta go find her, and through this you
Women.
learn various things about yourself,
Okay.
and
Like
that-
life.
I think you can let it
That's
fly
cool.
because with spoilers, right?
Well, that you are gifted in the Force, and eventually, I think it's right after Terrace, you go to Dantooine.
Yeah.
You start
And-
becoming Jedi.
Yeah, and then you get trained, and then whatever.
See,
And
I
then
got like
should we go
sidetracked.
full
yeah,
spoiler?
she
I
tells
think we
Right.
should go full spoiler.
And then after that, they say, okay, there's these things that Malik is looking for. Before
Terrence
this,
Malick.
Terrence
Terrence
Malick,
Malick.
filmmaker,
Terrence
is looking
Malick.
for these things. Dude, he wants to make Tree of Life too.
and he needs Jedi.
Yeah,
It's a
he
battle
does
Jedi.
meditation.
Is the
Okay,
first
all right, all right.
I need someone
trying
to
to
float
make-
my camera.
Right.
He wants to make Days of Heaven meets that war movie he did.
Oh,
Badlands?
Red Line.
No, not
Red Line,
Badlands.
All right.
So Darth Revan and Darth Malak were the bad guys in the beginning, right? And
Okay.
Revan is dead. He was
Not the
killed
beginning of the game, the beginning of the story.
right at the beginning of the story.
Okay.
So Malak is looking for these this map. He's looking for pieces of a map to this thing called the Star Forge, which is like a Dyson sphere.
Okay.
Dyson sphere is like a thing that harnesses the energy of the sun.
It's
Right.
why it goes in the Dyson vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
Oh, that's why they're so.
That's why
expensive.
they call it Dyson
Charles
spheres.
Dyson
Yeah.
went to the Galapagos Islands and invented it.
Yes.
By,
Charles
by
Dyson.
studying Reese's
before he
monkeys
exploded.
and the deadly Mutaba virus.
I like to call him Sea Dice. He's my buddy.
Sea dice.
That's what I call him when we go to
When he
Vegas.
fought the Terminators.
See
That was-
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna hyperventilate.
It's so good.
All right. I
Keep
like
going,
where this is
Josh.
going.
Keep
So he has to. So the Dyson sphere, the Star Forge, is a machine that's of extra galactic origin
Okay.
that creates equipment and armies like droids. It just
Okay.
makes things
pumps
like
them
that. Just
Gotcha.
like a
3D printer.
Henry Ford assembly
3D
line.
printer.
Okay.
3D printer. It's a giant fucking 3D printer.
All right. I like that.
So he wants that because he wants that to help defeat the Jedi because that's all the Sith ever give a fuck about is
Right.
killing Jedi.
Because they're stupid. Get a life. Get a life,
Dude.
Sith.
Get a fucking hobby.
They're
Yeah.
angry, man.
Doesn't it feel like that?
Make another Terrence Malick sphere.
Yeah, when that scene where he turns around and like spoilers and you find out that he's like Raziel from Soul Reaver.
Yeah,
You know,
gives them a
video
job.
game reference on a video game podcast. Right, he's got his little like voice box and he's like, no, like,
He's a guy.
Baron Unterbite.
yeah, he's Unterbite.
Yeah.
So when he turns around and he's like, and then like when he was like really hammering that, I don't know if it was like an admiral or whatever, and he's like telling about killing the Jedi. Paul, it's exactly how I felt. I was like, and then what? Like I mean, you have all this power. Like, do you want to rule everybody to what end? Like, I never
To get
understand
what
that.
from them?
But there's a story behind that.
I understand person versus person,
Yeah.
or
Right.
subjugating a people, and maybe they're the instrument of that subjugation. But
Yeah,
like,
right.
these guys already have all the power,
Right.
and so then
Right.
what?
Yeah,
Like,
but
why
it's
are you
different,
gonna-
like-
philosophy.
like, what
think
are
of
you
it in terms
gonna-
of like
No, I know. I know.
religious
I guess that's why I can't.
separate, like
yeah.
religious fundamentalism.
Is there a
Right,
religion
right,
thing
right.
going on?
Which I'm not a fundamentalist, so I can't understand.
Is this
that.
a religion thing? Like,
Yeah,
is
well,
there like a deeper
yeah.
religious thing
Sith
behind all
and
this?
Jedi, man. They're fucking super.
That's what
It's
I'm saying though. Like,
I always thought Sith and Jedi were more like samurai and ninja.
that's what I thought too. And I also
Yeah.
thought, well, that's what I just want to know. Is like,
They're more similar.
are
Than
they?
different.
Is there an end to this? Like, are they trying to bring about a world state that will
They want
that will appeal to their
it's
religion?
genocide. It's Nazism.
But yeah,
It's
but
Hitler.
they
It's-
want.
Right.
Oh, so they want like the
They want
pure.
Sith only.
But then what are they going to do when it's just Sith only? Just
well,
be
they just keep.
That's
power,
what I'm
it's
saying.
power.
Like,
Then they'll be like, oh, these guys are less.
But
Sith.
but they're
what did
Yeah.
Hitler want?
I'm not challenging you, Josh. I just said like they're
Yeah, I know, I
already
know.
they're already Sith though. They already like Hitler wanted to bring about the Ubermensch. They didn't exist yet. He wanted to create the Ubermensch.
right.
But the whole
At least
idea.
with the Empire, I can get behind the Empire because they're like, well, hey, we're like
Slavery.
We're
And
military.
that's awesome.
No, we're military, and we want to tax people. And in order to do that, we
Imperialism,
Need to,
right,
We need
right.
to
Yeah.
align.
Everybody
them
needs to
and-
give us their space credits.
Right. We got to make more Death Stars.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking teenagers are blowing them up every 2 days.
Right. Exactly. It's just like when you go that far back, and I guess it not to harp on like a metaphor I made last time or whatever, but I guess it goes back to that sort of like ancient Egypt thing. It's like, so why do you want to rule over all these people? You already have all the gold, you have all the power. What does ruling this one little group of people make any difference to you?
Right.
And I guess I can't understand that.
But
mentality.
it's because fundamentally the Sith disagree with the way that the Jedi
are.
they think they are wasting that power by helping people.
and that in some way invalidates their power.
Yeah, it's like
or,
well, Magneto being like homo superior. It's like
exactly.
It's like, hey, you guys can play with that.
yeah, explain.
It
I'm-
weakens
I like-
it
I'm
weakens
learning.
it weakens the
The bloodline.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, but keep going.
Anyway, so Malik, you have to find this map.
Yes, this should be a part of all the podcasts all the time.
What, someone just telling the story?
Yeah, we just tell the story in,
but
like,
there's
in like layman's terms.
There's some games where there's no story,
Right.
though.
Well, yeah. But
Like
but
we were like
we've been doing that a little bit in these other podcasts.
Yeah.
But I like
like
this.
the
like
one
we did Star Tropics.
Nick
like,
likes
tell
not
me
having to play the
story.
game and just showed up and listening.
You're
but, like,
you're a baseball player,
I'm
and
gonna
you're
tell you right
going
now.
to you're going to kill some natives.
we did that a little bit, right?
Right.
But like
Right.
next
did.
podcast is going to be like, all right, podcast part 1, all story.
Oh yeah, because it's pretty much that
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
game.
Well, that
right?
game,
Sorry.
they can wrap that game up in a movie. It could.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, it could be.
Or it could be pieces of a bunch of movies thrown together haphazardly.
Exactly. I don't know why you'd ever want to make a movie based on a video game. That sounds like the dumbest fucking idea I've ever heard in my entire life. But that's just me.
Nobody can do it right.
So when Revan and Malik, they go, they're Jedi at first, and they're the first Jedi to say, hey, the Mandalorians, who are the sort of the Iraq of this, oh, something's going on over there.
Yeah.
They're the one that say, we as Jedi have to help the Republic fight this, and the rest of the Jedi are very reserved about that. They're like, we shouldn't do that because something's going on. Like they knew like some shitty shit was going on, like some cloak and dagger shit. Yeah. So they go off and they get really, really strong. Like they get really good at fighting, and they get they're better Jedi. Kind of like Obi-Wan at the end of Episode 3 is like unstoppable. He's like, doesn't just give a fuck,
Yeah.
So they go away and they learn through some means, which you don't know, excuse me, in this game, but they reveal it in the MMO. They learn that there's a map to the Starforge, which will help them win the war or whatever. So your job is to now, as a budding Jedi, go find this map and find out where the Starforge is and destroy it.
So you go from like this bystander to like, you're like, I'm the main guy.
You're like
Luke
Skywalker.
Well,
Even better.
Now
There's more.
Yeah.
But wait.
Now
there's
tell
more.
him the truth.
Right. The truth of the matter is that Revan did not die.
Okay.
And that you are Revan. And they
You're a
erased your
deep
memory.
planted seed, motherfucker.
They capture you, right?
Yeah.
The Jedi.
Yeah. In the beginning cutscene, I think there's like a space battle.
There's a space battle.
And
Yeah,
Revan
yeah.
gets injured, and they don't believe in killing or executing people, so
That's
they
cool.
erase
No matter
your
what they
memory.
do.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that.
When I
So the
first played
Jedi
it-
show their,
Right.
not everything is as black and white as
Right.
Yeah.
I like
yeah, that's
that.
pretty that's pretty fucked up.
Can I get that in like an hour and a half?
Yeah, right. Yeah, where's that movie?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
I'll
please.
take that,
Yeah.
Dude.
But
I
the
don't
cool
want to.
thing
I don't
is,
want to be a bounty hunter and run around and find people.
Yeah.
I want to learn about this.
it's cool too because like as you move through this game and you run through the morality choices, like if you go more, it happens in this game. You get physically changes you, right?
Yeah,
like
Yeah, it creates an aura around you, and it like makes you. If you're a dark side, you like get corrupted.
you look like the Empire.
Yeah.
You got the Snicker
That's pretty
face.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snickers face.
Oh, now I can never eat Snickers again.
Dude, I hated
that's
Snickers.
great.
For
Or
years
I
because
can
of
just eat
that.
them right now because I'm so hungry.
That's kind of cool. But see, that's kind of where that choice thing comes in
The morality
because you have this clean slate and you kind of have this ability to go whichever way you want.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
But it's
Yeah,
like
it's awesome.
also visceral for you as a game player too, because like at that point, like I'm sure there are people who were like totally light side up until that point, and like
Right.
those motherfuckers lied to me, and
Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
start, and then in the end, you have the choice of like taking the Starforge and like becoming the Sith Lord again.
That's pretty
when you
cool.
defeat Malik.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
cool.
But doesn't canon come into play?
Right, canon is
So
light
what's
side
canon?
wins.
What happened?
Like you
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way. You win.
I mean, I understand that because this is in Star Wars and it takes place in the universe that a certain outcome has to occur,
Right.
Because
For other things to happen.
for other things to happen to get to the other point, and George Lucas wouldn't put a stamp on it without it.
Right.
It just bothers me because because I wanted to actually talk about the morality system. Donald Paris wrote in and talked about how the light and dark side thing blew his mind when he first played this game, and I want to talk about it because was this one of the first morality systems? I think it was like
First one I remember.
explicit.
Wasn't Fable before
I couldn't
this?
remember. I think Fable was before this.
Who was
Yeah.
the guy who was like in all his interviews was like, man, Fable's gonna be fucking great, and then it came out, and everybody was like,
Oh, the dude that made Fable?
Moore? Is that his last name?
No, Peter Molyneux.
Peter Molyneux, yes.
Yeah, that guy's famous for saying this is going to be
Yeah,
great.
it's gonna be so great, and then everybody's
Yeah.
like, none of the things you said happened.
Funny.
Yeah,
And he's like, yeah, but it's still a game, so
he's
you,
made a
should,
career out of it.
you have to get an 8. You have to give it an 8 or higher, you're fired.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't be a game journalist anymore.
Yep.
Video games.
Whoops,
Yep.
video games.
I like that. I like that choice thing because like the Force Unleashed games give you that option too. You play not so much like the choices you make, but like at the end you're kind of given this choice where you can like it's like it's like an alternate ending kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where
Right.
you do like the good guy ending or the bad guy ending, which is kind of
that's-
nice. But then they kind of spin that off into like some of the DLC stuff is
Yeah.
like from the bad guy part of it. You know?
I just the whole morality system thing was always.
P.S. I love parallel universe stuff too.
Yeah,
absolutely. I didn't want to step on what you were saying, but I mean, I like that at the end you can kind of get your what if ending. You can get your Crisis on Infinite Earth ending.
Remember that series?
Yeah, dude.
What if? That was the greatest thing ever.
Well, here's
they
the
had
thing,
those comic books too in Star Wars with
what
if Han wasn't released? I forget. Star Wars Infinite
Universe.
Yeah, the one where like Leia becomes like a.
She's the Jedi.
Yeah, she becomes a Jedi earlier than she really does.
Right.
She's got that white lightsaber.
There's plenty of games that allowed you to have before this game and before Fable. that allowed you to have a choice at the end or at a certain point. Like I didn't know about this, but Dino Crisis apparently was like that. Mega Man Legends.
Dino Crisis, the game where there are dinosaurs in space. Thank you, Capcom.
Dude,
the face Nick's making.
Always Capcom.
Video games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Video games.
Dude, Capcom is like, we're making a video game.
First game I ever heard the term.
Wait, would you say Mega Man Legends lets you do
Mega
that?
Man Legends lets you do that. Dragon Warrior? I never played Dragon Warrior, but apparently Dragon Warrior.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one, Dragon Warrior, at the end, apparently you get to choose if you want to kill a bad guy or join him or something.
Yeah, I think you die if you pick yes. And they ask you a million times, I believe.
Right.
He's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And then I think you just die. I think you just
like, that stuff's like cool. Like all right.
Oh, Halo, Half-Life you can. The original Half-Life from 1998?
That's right, yeah, yep.
But
you get on the tram or you don't get on the tram.
It's either you stay on the tram or then you get like original Doom ending where you're just like in a dark room and everybody like tears you apart.
Yeah, the brain monster thing that you just fought kills you, I think. Yeah, it comes back and kills you. Oh, dude, we should have said the ending of that because I would love to play that on here sometime.
That's a great game.
Oops.
Yeah. I don't even think my computer would run that.
Half-Life?
Yeah. It would just be like, what
tear
is
it
this?
apart. Yeah.
It'd be like, this is too easy. This is too fucking easy. It's fantastic.
It's
one of my favorite games of
phenomenal.
all time.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I'm just having a beer. Don't worry about it.
Endings like that are cool and all. But the morality system thing came in, and it always bothered me because I always thought it's this thing. The thing that's cool about this game is it's not black and white. It's like, oh, the Jedi did something wrong. But when you're playing it and you're making light side or dark side, your options are always like, oh, this or that.
I think it's interesting you just said the Jedi are doing something wrong.
Right.
I think philosophically that is interesting. But that's inherently interesting that you just projected your own morality
onto their.
Why are you always dragging your politics into this podcast?
I'm sorry.
God,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think that's interesting because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, because you're brainwashing somebody. Even if he's evil, you can't.
Goddamn Christianity.
It's just as evil. But here's real quick before we get too far off with this. But I that's what always bothered me, which is why when I played The Old Republic with Josh played it and Nick played it for a little bit, and everybody was going light or dark, but I always stayed neutral, even though it didn't give me any benefits or anything. And like they talked about, I don't know if they ever brought benefits in for neutral.
Nah.
I mean, I was partially role playing a bounty hunter, and I never wanted I wanted to be like the kind of bounty hunter that was just like fuck it, the typical Han Solo scoundrel.
Not my war.
No, yeah, exactly. So like I wanted to play that gray line because I hate options that are black or white because I'm always like I don't agree with either of those things because like I'm the most middle of the line person in the entire world, but I'm not middle of the line with this cat right now.
How you doing, cat?
The cat's like, I want to be on the podcast, please. Like what? When I said that, she like looked at me like, okay, I'll come up and play.
But anyways, what did you guys think of these things, these systems?
These things.
In this game, it's very ambiguous, much more so than the MMO is. The MMO, like, you can have the option to turn on light or dark. Like, it'll just tell you if you want to reach for lightest or darkest, Yeah. But in this game, like, you don't really know what you're going to get,
Right.
You might think, like you said, you might think you're doing the right thing, and then you get dark side points. You're like, what the fuck, man?
This game is very close to that terminal montage animated short. He's a great animator on YouTube. If you have never seen his stuff, he did that Nintendo 64 animation this last holiday season that was like hugely popular. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, but anyway,
I don't think I saw that one.
He did it was based on the old whatever. Anyway,
Nintendo 64 kid.
Yeah, it's based on that. He made like a little animated short for Newgrounds that's like great. But he had a short for. When him and his friend decided to start playing SWTOR, and it was like every choice they make is like the wrong choice, and like and they don't want to go dark, but like they're dark like instantly, like 3 or 4 choices like into the game.
That's pretty funny.
And not having had played SWTOR, Josh had told me he's like it's not like that so much, but this game is.
It
certainly is. You're like, oh well, I just won't talk to you, and it's like, oh yeah, you're not gonna talk to me. Well, guess what?
That's
what?
Yeah.
Just like a motherfucking Sith.
But that's trickery though. To say that, I mean, it's still binary, which is annoying to me. But I
think it might be a little
No, it's binary, dude. But they're tricking you into. They're just going, well, you think you're doing.
Well, they're
the right
masking
thing.
it, yeah. But that's there's two outcomes, and each path has to lead to that outcome. Life isn't like that. Like, the outcome to your life is, I don't know what it is.
Nothing. It's meaningless. It's
much
very,
more
I'm more of a
complicated.
postmodernist than I am.
Your argument is the allegory where if I come into a room and I offer you Pepsi or Coke, I'm not really giving you two different choices. I'm only offering you soda.
Right.
And it's like you are playing a video game. The only choice you have is to play the game.
Well, I know because
you can choose not to play the game. Mike.
Exactly. The only choice is not to play.
BioShock. Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you for ruining the BioShock episode, which I'm sure we'll do in the future at some point. Those are the only right. Those are like the only choices you have. So.
Right.
I understand what you're saying. I'd really
It's
like
our
to
show, Mike. There's only two choices.
You can either like me or hate me. That's it. There's no in between. There's no in between.
I was going to say continue or game over, but
It's like me or hate me, Paul. Those are the choices.
Paul, you have to choose those two.
I'm on the podcast now. It's about me, Mike Sadorf.
I don't know. I just always found morality systems to be a very weak mechanic, like a lame mechanic, because especially in a game like this where they're like, you get to decide the outcome, but it's and it's going to impact how the game plays.
You can still decide the outcome however you want it, though. At the end, there's still like a final momentary decision where
which is lame to give the people an out because it's like, you screwed up until the whole end.
Yeah, that stuff's interesting, but I
What
feel
if
like
you
it's
have
like
a
a lot
change
of
of heart?
pressure.
Life
is already
there's
a lot of
always
pressure.
a second chance, Josh. I like
That's
that.
the whole point. Is that you think the Jedi did
there's
something
always
wrong?
redemption.
But would they just put him in prison? Like,
But Paul just hit me. He was like, "Yeah," and he smiled. He's like, "Yeah, I like that." No,
you know.
Have you ever played Grand Theft Auto 3? You guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know how you can run people over ad infinitum on the sidewalk or whatever.
yeah.
But ultimately, if you're playing the game and playing the missions, you're barreling towards an ending.
Right.
You know, and then even in the credits of the ending, another game spoiler, you shoot Maria, you shoot the girl,
Right.
the obnoxious girl, or whatever. You shoot her right in the face. That's
Yeah.
what you hear. You don't
Right.
So no matter how conservative you want to play that game, you're a cleaner, or hitman, or wheelman, or whatever for the mafia, and then you end up taking out the mafia. And because that's the game you're playing towards,
Right.
you can play in the sand all you want up until that point,
Right.
but you are barreling towards an ending.
Yeah.
Have you ever projected your own morality onto a game like that? Be like,
Well,
well, I'm not going to kill the cops.
It's funny because
I'm not that person.
Absolutely. It's funny
Right.
because I was actually going to bring that up when you guys bring that up. The only interest is not to play the game, and I was thinking about that. I was like, well, every game has a morality choice then, because once you start playing it, and once you're killing these binary people, you're making a morality choice.
Right.
And yes, you could do that, and I have done that. I remember when I would play the original Grand Theft Auto 3, that one on PS. What was that? PS2 or PS1? PS2. I remember, I was like, I'm gonna obey the traffic laws
Yeah.
right
Right.
now.
And then you do it
know?
for a little bit, and you're like,
I used to do that in Driver.
Yeah.
Driver, dude.
Yeah.
I did the same.
Driver.
I would just drive around, dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just love Driver.
dude, I would
that
do the
game.
director mode, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Director
dude, yeah.
Lost game.
Yeah.
Lost classic.
That is
Yeah,
a good
seriously.
game.
Doesn't hold up, but I like it.
No, none of the PS1 driving games really hold up.
But so you don't mind projecting your morality onto a game and your decisions in the game, but you don't like being spoon fed them.
I don't like being
or
sold that this is the fun
line.
thing that you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean. I actually know exactly
What do
what
you
you're
mean?
saying.
Like that. It's like it's fun to choose if you're going to be bad or good. It's like no, just let me make
It's
that
like a
decision
mechanic.
myself and make a really fun mechanic instead.
See,
Right.
last time I know I had
Yeah, I
mentioned
see what
something
you're
about a mechanic in a game being introduced at some point, like the button through tutorials, like press the A button here, that whole
that,
the Mega Man, that whole thing,
Yeah.
or all the way up to the most recent Call of Duty. No matter how many there have been, it's like when you walk up to an object, it's like press A to jump over this object. It's like no matter how much time you put into the game, it'll always be there. The morality choices is your QuickTime events, Paul. Is your game mechanic that you're like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Right.
I'll do
But
it myself
you can't-
naturally.
But you can't strip that out because that's inherent to the superstructure of the game. I mean, the game can't stand up without that.
Well, this game,
this
it's
game,
built on
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's
And I think, and it's also the story and the universe
Yeah.
is very much so built on light versus dark and good
Right.
versus evil. So I mean, it's very otherwise you end up with Super Star Wars and Super Empire Strikes Back.
You just jumping on
Sweet
fucking.
I don't know. So, again, I don't want to jump to the end or whatever, but that's kind of where. And I know I said this last time. It's kind of where I'm like, is this a video game or is this my definition of a video game?
This treads closer to an interactive movie than it does.
An
And it's
interactive
not a
movie
problem.
or a
That's not a
Dungeons
problem.
and Dragons
It's D&D.
tutorial.
It's
Exactly,
D&D.
and
Or
you're right.
whatever they call
That's
it.
a good point because this is a very much so a role playing game, and it's very much so pushing you towards that. And the problem is, in a normal role playing game, you would be able to do whatever you want
Right.
But
As
they
long as
have
you
to they have to push you down a path because they have to get you to an endpoint.
You mean
You
by
don't
a
ha-
role playing game? You mean like a tabletop role?
Yeah,
playing
tabletop
game.
role
Right.
playing game, because you would have a dungeon master who is pushing you towards a thing, but because they're human, they'd be able to understand what you're doing
Right.
and still use your human motivations and push you towards the end.
Right.
But because it's a computer doing it, it needs the binary on and off in
Right,
order to be able to
yeah.
get you there. So
Yeah,
it has to be
that's
that
a
way.
question about: is this a game? It's a little more interactive.
Yeah.
It's a
You
game.
didn't have to
I
do
mean,
bullshit.
if you
it'd
didn't
be
have to fight.
interactive. Yeah, you
There
have
is-
to fight and do bullshit, like run places.
We're doing this game a disservice by not having it played as far along as Josh, or as many times as Josh, where Josh just told me, he's like,
We do every game a disservice.
I've gotten
where Josh is like, yo, you get to the end of that game, and it's like, if you don't know how to fucking play, you ain't getting any further. Like, there
there's
is a
part-
time
the
when you
second
do-
one's a little more
where you do
unforgiving,
have to
but-
play.
Okay.
But this goes back, I think we talked about this maybe last time, but Nick, you and I talk about this all the time. There's never, you don't want to play a video game, and this is not a knock on you. This is just how we approach it differently.
No, yeah.
You don't want to play a game where you have to, where your skill set has to improve, or you have to become better at
Right.
it. Like your dexterity, and that's fine. Like I
Right.
understand. You don't want there to be a competitive skill tug of war between the difficulty curve of the game and how good you are at it.
Right. I always feel like the payoff isn't there. I feel like my time
Right.
invested
Right.
is
Well, what
not equal to the enjoyment that I get out
Exactly.
of it.
And I understand that completely, even though I don't play like that at all.
Right.
I love being like challenged. I like being challenged to
challenged.
the utmost. But there, you can still have a game that challenges you without those things.
No,
And
totally.
we talked
man.
about.
I mean, dude, 2001's a great movie, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to go there, if you want to watch that movie or the trippy shit, you got to sit through a lot of bullshit.
Yeah,
for the
you
you
can
know,
work
I
for
said
it,
at the
yeah.
beginning of
you
this,
got to work
Right.
for it, right?
effort, justification,
Right.
and to take a line from that PBS big idea or whatever it's called, that PBS channel
Yeah,
on YouTube, which
that
is
show's great.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a great channel.
Here's an idea, that show. The effort justification one about Homestuck, about that online novel and everything. And they talk about James Joyce's Ulysses, and they talk about Infinite Jest. And I don't know if they talk about Gravity's Rainbow, but they should. There are... you guys
I'm
get
gonna assume that's a smart
You,
joke.
you guys know about Thomas Pynchon? You don't know about Thomas Pynchon.
You guys know about getting boners for V2 rockets? All right.
I do a podcast on the internet.
That's
so.
that's the premise of that book.
Yep.
This guy gets a boner every time that a rocket's about to fall.
It's
right?
that it goes overhead, and it's
That's
about
right. That's right. Yeah, every time it's about to go over, and he knows he can guess the trajectory of V2 rockets
his
coming into
wiener.
England
That's awesome.
from his boner.
That's
And that's one of the greatest writers of our
Yep.
last 100 years.
Oh,
It's just So I mean, just to reel it back. Sorry, guys, I derailed it and I wasn't even talking. To reel it back in, like all that time I spent playing Counter-Strike really got me far in life. How good. And you're making this face at me right now, like the exactly face.
Right.
And it's like can you take those skills from one game to another? Of course, because you're developing your muscle memory,
Sure,
your
and
hand-eye
different people
coordination.
can take different skills from
But
those
that's-
kind of
But
things.
that's what I'm looking for recreation. It doesn't mean that's what you're looking for
Yeah,
recreation.
right.
agree.
That's,
and that's fine.
That's a judgment. That's not. I don't think that's the point. The point is that it doesn't
No,
matter.
I agree with that. I'm just saying
mean-
the difference in the types of playing.
Right. No, I know.
And so this game is such a departure from
Right.
like at some point you,
You have
have
to be
to
quick.
get good at Tetris.
Right.
Like you can play it and have fun, but you
Yeah.
have to get better at some point to keep playing it.
Right.
There are parts in this game where you
And I
have
just
to,
again, I think
You
I'm
do.
selling
Shoot back
this
and
game
forth.
short by having had not
Yeah.
gotten that far.
I've
and I
played a lot.
apologize.
I've
but-
played a lot more of this game before. Like when I was younger, I played it. And I got to. I found out I was Revan. I've gotten that far. And this, you get a ton more abilities.
Yeah.
And you have to definitely, like the cool thing is you get that little bar at the bottom. You get to like line up your abilities.
It's
and
like
you gotta,
cards. It's like
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
But
Yeah,
yeah, what
exactly.
you're gonna play,
Yeah.
what move you're gonna play next.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And the micromanaging in the menus seems like it would be a blast. I love shit like
Yeah,
that.
that shit's fun.
It's cool. You get to like mod your armor
Right,
and do
right.
shit like that, and that's really fun. Get all new items.
You know
for
those
your
journal
guys.
entries though. I'm usually not like that. I'm usually like,
it's
yeah, I'll
a
read it
book.
all, but it is like a lot.
You get
Yeah.
you can get lost in
Yeah.
this game. Like you could spend 4 weeks playing this game.
Well, it's cool,
and
like-
not see the sun.
Yeah, because like one of the puzzles early in the game when you're in that one hotel or the one apartment complex, and you walk into the thing and you find the guy's journal, and it's the letter from his uncle, and then you want to undo his trap, and it has like a bunch of passcodes on it. And
Right.
you have to read that entire thing and remember key.
You gotta write shit
things
down.
from it. Yeah,
man.
like stuff like that is really cool, and like
Yep.
while at the same time, like I think I realized as I was playing this game that I'm at a point in my life where I'm past playing games like this. Like I don't really want to play.
Thank you
them
for
again.
saying it, so I don't have to sound like the asshole and say it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
But I just like I just don't like. I mean, there's certain games that I do want to do stuff like that, but there's got to be another mechanic
I
there
agree,
for me.
I agree with that. I don't have time to do this stuff. Like I don't have
Yeah,
time to
right.
play this type of game anymore.
See, I like that.
I miss having that type of.
No,
time.
Yeah, oh,
it'd
yeah,
be
I do too.
nice, but
I want to take those things, that information they're giving you, and I want to do stuff with it in my brain on my own, not what they tell me
Like
to
a
do.
book. Like if it was like
Right.
some sort of words on paper that I could imagine a story.
Yeah, like Josh telling me this story about this thing.
Right.
It's way
Well,
better up here
I'm going
than
to-
it ever could be.
I'm going to segue this into the Old Republic then,
Right.
Because there's a
'Cause I have a
lot of
question
that
about-
in this,
We were on a mission.
right?
Were they called missions? Or are they called quests?
I never played the Old
Just
Republic.
I can't remember.
I was
I'd
busy
say
playing
Quest.
Warcraft, you guys.
we
Just
were
say
on
Quest.
one, and no, you played with us.
I didn't play.
No, he didn't play
Sword
that.
War. I was still playing Warcraft.
He never
Oh.
played that.
I was
but-
getting ready for
played.
Mist of Pandaria. It was very serious now. It was very-
She got real.
the Dragon
Oh,
Soul
okay.
had
So
only
we-
been a raid for a year at that point. Jesus Christ.
We
So
were
he was
playing, and we
Warcraft, knows what
did
I'm
a
talking
mission that was like related to this, and you gave me the
Right.
whole backstory, and I was like, "That's awesome. Where's that?" And you're like,
Right.
It's in this game. It's like 10 years old." And I was like, "Oh,
Well, like
never mind."
the implication at the end of this game, Revan, you go away. You fucking go wherever to find yourself or go on a walkabout, whatever. Okay. But
Oh, so you walk at the end of it.
but Bast,
You're a
Dude,
Bast-
here's Psycho.
Preambulator.
Gotta do the walkabout.
Yeah, gotta do the
Dude,
walkabout.
John Locke, man, straight
Yeah.
up.
But the in the Old Republic, which takes place 300
Can we
years,
just do like a Lost podcast?
we're a little late.
we just talk about episodes of Lost.
So the Old Republic takes place 300 years after this,
Yeah.
and Bastula's great granddaughter is the head of the Jedi,
Battle meditating.
and the implication is that she's Revan's daughter or
That's
ancestor also.
She's already
'Cause they
breaking Jedi
effed.
code by banging people.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little more relaxed than this time. You're allowed to
All
do
right.
shit like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's more like kings and queens. It's more like lineage matters.
okay,
and
that's cool.
The Force throws through bloodlines and all that
Yeah.
shit.
There were a couple things that happened that I remember. We were on that fucking planet with the rat ghouls,
Yeah.
and I was with you in a party, and you're like, here's what's great about this. You meet these people. We go to this area,
Oh, yeah, you
this
told me about
sanctuary
this.
area.
Oh, yeah.
And you meet these people in
Terrace.
Knights of the Old. Yeah,
It's Terrace. You're
Is
on
it
Terrace
Terrace?
again. Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't even make
And
that.
it's all
fucking
plants
connection.
and overgrown because there's.
I didn't make that fucking
Yeah.
connection. That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I was just amazed at thinking about that. Okay, so you're on Terrace and everything's all fucked up.
Right.
And so the rat ghouls go crazy, and I got to the point in this game where you meet the guy and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go make this sanctuary because we got cast out and we're gonna make this new
Right.
thing." And then in the Old Republic, you're like,
find out what happens to them.
yeah, you find out what happens to them, and you
And
gave me the backstory. You're like, "Hey, we're gonna go in this room. I'm gonna tell you this backstory real quick." So we're just sitting here, and you tell me all this.
Damn, I
shit.
should have played with you more, man.
Yeah, it was great,
See?
dude. So yeah, tell me what happened.
How much further, real quick before you say, how much further after this game does the Old Republic take place?
300
years.
300 years,
300
okay.
so years.
I may have had a mini blackout during that. Was that beer I drank earlier?
Yeah,
Anyway, go ahead.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, that old guy, whatever, says the promised land or whatever,
Yeah.
and you let them go and they go find their way or whatever. But in this, you find evidence of what happens to them, and it's just they die. The rat ghouls just kill them all. Over 300 years, they just
That's
all fucking
awesome.
die.
Jesus.
And there's entries that you follow. It's like breadcrumbs, and the last entry is the girl doesn't speak right because they don't know how to talk.
Wait, that's the girl that I saw in this game.
Well, it's just an ancestor of these people. So the
People
girl
that I met in the underworld in Terrace.
Yeah,
right?
it's like an ancestor of hers or whatever, and there's only a few
That's
of them
cool.
left, and she's like,
How did you remember her?
I just remember, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I remember. I mean, obviously, I just played the part where I met her,
Mhm.
but I don't think I would have remembered her after playing through the game. I don't know.
They do a good, they do a really good job in that in the Old Republic of nodding toward these games, and the second
Yeah.
game plays a huge part in it too.
Well, for them, it's a big thing because they created these worlds and these characters, and
Right.
they're probably near and dear to their hearts. So there's a lot of love, and they want to
Right.
keep them,
There's
telling their story.
I don't know if it's the. Do you get Canderous in this? Who's the Mandalorian?
Cancer? You get cancer
Yeah,
in this
no,
game?
no, yeah.
That's
God, space
terrible.
cancer.
The Mandalorian, you see him in
Yeah.
Terrace, and when you first learn about the bike swoop gangs,
Yeah,
swoop
you
bike
get
gangs and stuff like
he
that.
becomes a part of your party, and
Yeah.
there's implications that he becomes one of the Mandalores that has a huge
I'm
part in
nodding.
the
I'm like,
galaxy. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of shit. There's just, I mean, it's very in depth, and for a Star
was
Wars fan, it's heaven.
Yeah, it's story porn.
Yeah,
for you,
it is.
Yeah.
Lore porn.
Lore porn.
Yeah,
As
that's
much
it.
as I hated WoW lore, I
Yeah.
fucking hated it. It was so, I hated
When
it.
Paul asked, "How do you remember that girl?" I was gonna say, "Well, Josh only played Warcraft forever."
Yeah.
So I mean, he's
Yeah.
like used to, I guess, looking for those little cues.
yeah, I
and,
mean-
looking at those like dark corners for like answers. To
If you
questions.
started
Yeah.
bringing me into fucking Song of Ice and Fire lore, I'd probably be able to like start
yeah.
stringing.
Oh,
some shit
okay,
off,
Paul.
you know?
Yeah. All right. No humble brag there. Oh, I mean, if you guys want to talk about something,
Paul's
wanna
been
talk about-
Paul's been humble bragging a lot lately.
I have been humble bragging.
I mean, I read Infinite Jest and Song of Fire and Ice.
No big
No
deal.
big NBD. NBD. I wanted to ask questions about the Old Republic, having not played it.
Right.
Now I know an expansion is coming out.
It came out.
It came out.
Yeah.
I mean,
too much fanfare.
You've probably heard of it because 3 people play it. 1.5 of them are me.
is there going to be? Are they using the Old Republic as a leap board to the next installation in this now decade plus foundation that they've laid for?
Is there a plan
Old
for
Republic
another
stuff.
Is
I mean,
there
like-
I don't know.
Plan for more of that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so there's Knights of the Old Republic and then KOTOR 2.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
SWOTOR. So we've been chugging along.
Well,
hundreds of
LucasArts is
years.
gone, so
Well, they're dead now. Rest
yeah.
in peace.
LucasArts is gone, and I don't think Disney's going to be making any games on
That don't have
Star
Yoda
Wars
in
for a
it because
while,
it doesn't have Yoda or Darth
Right.
Vader. It's
Yeah.
not Star Wars.
No,
universe.
isn't their philosophy like that they're gonna like? It seems like they're stopping it so that they can make the new movie and then reboot everything after that. It seems
Whatever.
like they don't want to water down the brand anymore. They know the band. It's exactly what you said. It's all a cash in, and I think they know
Right.
that. And now they're like, well, let's make it seem like it's not a cash in, so that when we cash in, we
Double
can
It's ironic.
cash in.
It's ironic how much of this franchise was built on fuck the studio
Yeah.
system, and now it's
Yep.
a total money grab.
He's
Let
like,
me-
well, he's like, fuck them, I got mine.
it's
yeah,
a-
well,
Yeah.
It's a money grab because who knows how much longer it's going to be relevant.
Right.
And here's the thing, and I've been saying this forever. I know I'm not the only person saying this or whatever, but it's like everybody keeps on talking about like, oh, and Star Wars and the brand of Star Wars and the recognition of Star Wars, and it's gonna go away. It's already on the wane. It's people don't care that we grew up and we still love it and all that, but those of us who are having kids might introduce our kids to it, but it might be the original
not
ones
our
from the
Star Wars
70s. It's
anymore.
not this.
It
It's
has
not.
to be like how Star Trek was.
Well,
It needs,
I think you.
well, it
actually
will
just
be.
hit-
I mean, obviously, but I mean, like Star Trek is an entire universe. It's not just Captain Kirk. It's not just Captain Picard. It's
You're looking
an
for-
idea, and Star Wars is an idea. And
It's just a logo. It's just brand recognition.
well,
by
to
logo.
them, but to other people, it's not. I mean,
No, it's a mythology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, as a cash grab, though, it's not like it's not like some 8-year-old's going to be like, I know who Yoda is, so I have to play this game.
Right.
No, he's going to be like, oh, that's the thing that's on my dad's wall.
Right.
That I know what. It's like people have had love affairs with things that have been around for 100 years, 200 years, whatever. They're like, oh, I collect stamps, or I collect toy trains and everything. But unless you are steeped in that your entire life, it doesn't really mean something to you unless it's contemporary with your coming of age.
Right.
well, there has to be a balance to that, and I think the best thing as a huge Star Wars fan that I can hope for is that somebody creates a Star Wars where they're not afraid to take like chances,
Right, redesign what Star Wars is.
and not redesign, not too much, but I mean,
Not like the Star Trek. That's not what I
not
mean.
redesign it. Just- I
No,
mean,
do what they
Star
did.
Trek.
Do what they did in this game, and not be afraid to go. Hey, the Jedi's can do something that's
Right.
not so
Right.
Jedi.
But that's the whole point of like Luke Skywalker's Jedi is that they're
Right. He what he becomes
They're-
eventually.
that's
no
the
episode
balance in the
7.
Force.
There's
Yeah.
spoilers, but
yeah, because
the Jedi were good and it led them to destruction.
Right.
The Sith were evil and led them to destruction.
It's a Zen thing.
There has to be
Yeah.
exactly.
find the balance.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive back into this game.
well, I was
Our
No. Yeah, I mean, we can get philosophical as shit on Star
Oh,
Well,
Wars.
I was gonna ask something about the game inherently, unless you want to go into another topic.
No, I was gonna bring up something that just Dan Hareen was like,
good, yeah.
for authoritarian occupiers, the Sith seem awfully tolerant of blaster sword fights.
Yeah,
In the
they're
street.
just letting people do that.
I thought about that a couple times.
Hey, don't come near me. I'm a Sith. Those guys on
Yeah.
Terrace, like they're like, hey.
Yeah.
Then they don't do anything.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
I'll
Talk,
box,
bro.
I'll box your ears, kiddo, and I'll move ahead now. I don't know what
cops.
accent that
They're
is.
cops.
Yeah.
That's what
They're
cops.
like, you got papers? Okay.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
I mean, like in East Berlin, like you were getting like shot with like a fire hose if you were on the wrong side of the
Yeah.
street. You
No,
know?
I just love things. It's a game thing. It's a video game
Right,
thing where
right.
it's like don't do that over here, and then you walk behind them and you get in a sword fight, and it's like okay.
Okay.
See,
No, he's right. He's right. Not like those cops in Driver. Am I right, guys? Let's talk about a game that's 20 years old that nobody's ever played.
That's what this podcast is.
We were talking about this game, and Paul saying that maybe he's grown out of this type of game. I wonder if the Nintendo generation, which is us, not you guys listening, so eat shit. I wonder if the people who are developing games now and us as game players, have we all grown out of these kind of games? There aren't. I'm going to say there aren't. I'm sure somebody's going to be like, oh, no, there really is. There really aren't AAA released text adventure games or roguelike games. I know there are roguelike games. I know there are.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody jumped down my throat. I know. But I'm just saying, like those games have fallen to the wayside.
Yeah, they're
roguelikes making a
I
huge
knew
comeback.
you were going to say that.
It's
you
making
asshole.
a huge comeback.
It's
Dude.
a huge comeback, meaning 2 people played as opposed to 1.
No, man, there's tons of roguelikes.
And there's like that
there's
ASCII one, isn't there? That
Dude,
one
there's-
ASCII?
yeah,
ASCII?
ASCII. Dude, I mean, the game that I've been trying to get us to play on this for so long,
I know what you're gonna say.
FTL, is a huge
Which one?
roguelike.
What's that one?
Faster Than Light. It's the spaceship game.
Oh, no, I don't know that one.
It's fucking awesome.
And I knew there was that Doom adaptation to a roguelike that was like, great.
Roguelikes are actually having a pretty decent comeback.
Yeah, but I mean,
indie-wise.
Yeah, I was
not
I was
AAA. You're right about AAA.
Yeah, there's a AAA. Like the Walking Dead game is like choose your own adventure kind of thing, and it's got like
text adventure. There's a AAA. Text
Isn't
adventure.
what's it called Rain Slicked Precipice or whatever, the Penny Arcade one? Wasn't that sort of text adventure?
That's all over the place. That was like that was a like kind of an RPG, and then it became like a side-scrolling RPG.
Okay.
It's kind of all over the place.
I having never had played those, I can't speak to them. But I mean, maybe we're growing, and for better or for worse, we grew out of certain types of films. There aren't. We talk. It's funny. Nick mentioned Tree of Life earlier.
Yeah.
And in the early '60s, that movie would have been right at home.
Oh my God.
In a wide release in this country.
Yeah.
Like, everybody
people
was like
would've-
experimental film,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And like and the artist, silent film, nominated for Best Picture and all. But on the whole, we sort of grow out of. We move in phases. Like we all go through growing
here's
pains.
what's happening right now.
Games like this, maybe these D&D sort of guided adventure, like you said. You said last podcast. This game's in a series of tubes.
Yeah.
It's like the internet, the game. But maybe we've just. It's not that it's not good.
No, here's what's happening: is I mean, we might be maybe these types of games are the games that we grew into. I think these types of games will eventually have a comeback. Like these heavy JRPGs and things like that. Well, eventually,
Right.
But what's happening right now is the Nintendo generation, our generation, is starting to make games, but they're making indie games.
Right.
And now there's this resurgence of side scrollers, of puzzle games,
Right,
of
right.
platformers, and things like that. That's the resurgence.
Think about like Ready Player One. In that book, that
Wow.
guy makes.
Are we all hearing this?
This
is
the
really
War
happening
Games
right now.
game, right?
Right.
He makes the War Games game. You get
Yeah.
to play as War Games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what this fucking game is. This
Yeah.
game is that.
Yeah.
It's just
you get to play as Star Wars.
You're playing as Star
As
Wars.
right, I
trust
see what
me,
you're saying. I see what you're
Josh, when I was 19 when I got this game, and I was like, I can be Star Wars.
saying. Right, Star Wars Battlefront. That's
Yeah.
what I was like,
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
That was more my speed.
That was That was a little bit after this, right? Or was it the same time these came out?
I think it was 1 year after this. I can't remember.
Yeah, but I mean,
I had my notes from last week.
This game was the first Star Wars game that you, or no, the Nintendo 64 one came out that was Star Wars. This was really the first one where you got to be like a Jedi, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I remember like learning that you could build your own
lightsaber.
Lightsaber,
and
right,
I was
the
like,
color.
done.
When
Yeah.
you could pick the color of the
cool.
blade,
Yep.
my friends flipped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That was it.
But the thing that sucked about that was each one had a different stat, right? Different colors, and I was so
Yeah.
pissed about that because
There were like super rare ones too.
Yeah.
That you had to like do certain fucking things.
yeah.
Nick's like, nope.
Nick, dude,
That's where the
it's so
intrepid
weird to
intrepid
me.
gamer thing like comes in, and I sometimes I'm in the mood for it, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
man.
I'm not saying every game needs to be, or that we've evolved to the point where every game is an FPS or an MMO. It's sort of like saying like every movie that comes out has to be a remake or a sequel.
Right.
Right.
But that's where we are right now, and it's. Is that the meat and potatoes? Sure, but
No,
are
but
there other
that's
things?
the AAA
Are there
meat and
right?
potatoes.
Are
AAA
there-
stuff, but then
that's
the
what
other
keeps
stuff,
studios alive.
Yeah.
But are there other things? Of course.
Yeah.
Would I eat sushi every day? No.
Well, you know what's awesome?
But I love
yeah.
fuck,
yeah.
I love to fuck sushi. It was what the sentence I was about to construct grammatically
true.
would
That's
have, would
actually
have been.
Yeah.
But you know what's awesome though, and what's fucking really cool about the time we're living in right now, and I hope kids are appreciating what's going
In this
on.
day and age,
No,
the
they're
greatest logical fallacy.
Well, I hope
Not directed at you,
No,
I'd
no,
say
I think,
all the time.
and I think they will eventually. I think, like, especially the kids that have plenty of time to play a shit ton of games. We're living in the '60s of video games right now.
That's true.
We
I
absolutely are.
Absolutely,
and there's
100%.
so many
The 60s in terms of what?
it
Music
is
or film?
experimental
Okay.
film. I'd say
Film.
more so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
we're
Yeah.
definitely in the experimental portion of video games because now it's like, well, fuck making a AAA
Right.
title.
Right.
I'm gonna go make my own because I can now.
Right. I have the
totally
total.
have it.
Same thing with
For
music,
every
too.
barefoot
Same
in
thing
the
with
park,
music.
there is an I'm Curious Yellow.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
and
It's like-
that's fantastic. Right
We're in the
now.
punk rock
Those are
period right
60s
now.
movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something like we didn't appreciate because we grew up with VHS and any movie not any movie. I mean, kids nowadays have fucking any movie they want. But like if it's on HBO, we could watch it again and again,
Yeah.
for free.
It's
You know,
the
it's-
difference
yeah.
between it's the difference between people telling you what to watch and you deciding what you
Yeah,
want to watch.
I remember my
And same thing
professor.
with video games.
I remember my professor told me he's like the '60s. He's like, you saw a movie in the theater and then you could never see it again.
Right,
Right.
that was it. You
Ever.
had to
Ever.
remember it in your brain.
remember
computer.
it.
And I was like, to download it with
And,
your
like,
eyes into your brain.
Yeah, he told me about that, and I remember being like, "The fuck?"
Yeah.
Like
kind of world
that
we
was
live in,
unimaginable to me.
Kids nowadays are like,
Unimaginable.
it's not on Netflix. It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
D&E does not exist.
Does not exist.
If I can't get it the second I want it, then
Right.
it's not worth getting.
Can you
Or
imagine
having.
if you this would be a great art game. Make a game that you can only play once and then it's over and you
Oh
can
my
never play it
God,
again.
Paul!
God,
That's
Paul,
brilliant.
It's called
Yes.
fucking life, Paul.
I'd like to play.
See,
Like I said earlier,
I'd like to roleplay that game.
You're dead for
and
a
I'd
long
like,
time
I'd
at
like
the
to
end of
build
that
up my
game.
skill set in that game. All right,
That
trying to
game's
level up
hard,
that
man.
game.
That game's hard, man.
I just
The life
I think
game.
about
permadeath in this game.
well, you know what? I think about games that I loved because when I was playing them, like Josh loved this game when he was playing it, and Paul, you love this game too. And I'm trying to think like games even from that the early last generation of
Like
of
early
consoles.
2000s?
Early 2000s, like what games were great then that we haven't seen those types of games again or haven't been around. And I'm really racking my brain. I played a lot of games.
No, because that was
I'll
the
tell you
beginning
what,
of the
I'll tell you
AAA
one.
period.
I'll tell you one. 3D fighting games. They kind of went the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah, they went
Yeah,
back to 2D.
nobody has,
Yeah.
And even the 2D
Well, no,
fighting games-
because Soul Calibur's still around. That's pretty
Yeah,
popular.
but Paul, I mean,
Is
like
it?
within the span of a year, you'd see 3 or 4 different
And Tekken-
franchises.
Tekken's still
I know
around. Huge game
Injustice
right
is coming out, and it's like, but who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it'll sell well
Yeah.
or whatever. But
Mortal
Yeah, but
Kombat's
the-
still trying to do their thing. And
Yeah.
Street Fighter Six
Well, no,
trying to do
Mortal
Same-
Kombat
that's-
moved to Injustice. Though.
Injustice, that's those guys,
Same,
yeah.
same company.
I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know.
Man,
This game was aside from the branding and aside from the publisher, this game was sort of fringe at the time. And what's funny is, we were saying all of this. I'm just thinking about the last 20 minutes of our conversation, and Mass Effect exists.
Yeah,
But
This
This
game
is
like
Mass
made
Effect, yeah.
Xbox.
Has nobody at this table played Mass Effect?
I play Mass Effect.
Is Mass Effect like this?
It's exactly.
I mean, it's an action game. You actually
it's
like,
an action
shoot-
game?
but
Okay.
it's based on stats. So yeah, I mean, it
Yeah, but is
feels
it-
more kinetic
is it-
than this does.
Okay, so it's not as much of a guided story as this game.
I'm
looking at you so much, I'm trying to talk
You
into
can
this
actually
mic,
go
it's not
around
happening.
it. They open it up a lot more, and you can go to different planets in this at different times, right? You get to choose at one point. I think. Yeah, you
go
get
to
to
space.
pretty much stuck though once you go to
Go to
one.
space.
You can go to space.
Yeah,
This is what I imagine a holodeck program being.
Right, I got you.
This is just a holodeck on a screen in front of you.
yeah.
Like there's long periods of sitting and just listening to fucking people chatter. Like
Yeah.
it's very ambient and like.
Yeah.
I'd prefer reality to the simulacrum then.
Well, I mean, I can't use a lightsaber in reality.
But I don't have that much of a desire to use a lightsaber, I guess. I guess that's where like the inherent disconnect is between like a fan appreciation, and that's not a knock, between
But
fan
you love
appreciation.
you love racing games.
I absolutely do, but I don't play them as much anymore.
right, but
Because I
don't
feel
play-
like it's a good point. I feel like I grew out of racing sims, and they still exist. There are still racing sims.
Yeah, Forza's great.
Forza, I actually played Forza not too long ago, and it was fantastic. And now Horizon sort of bridges that gap between arcade game and simulator. And I know
I thought that Forza did that.
no, Forza is like a sim.
No, it's pretty close, but it's not.
You don't have to
No, it's not
play-
Gran Turismo.
Oh,
sim.
Jesus
Yeah, if
Christ.
you can't play the school bus, it ain't shit.
Right. School bus that does a wheelie. That's what I'm saying. Like, doing the cruising USA. And when you hit the cows, they blow up into steaks.
Yep.
There's still one of those at the bowling alley.
But there's a PGR. I think PGR 5 is coming out. Project Gotham Racing 5 is coming out as a launch title for the 360. I think is what's been hinted at.
It always
forever.
does, pretty much.
Right,
It's
it's
like
they
their thing
always
now.
do that.
Turns it well when they bought Bizarre. Oh God, and the best game ever made from Bizarre, Geometry Wars.
Dude,
Rest in peace.
such a great,
The
such a
fucking
great-
greatest video game ever. I'm doing an aspiration of Christ for that. I love the game so much.
Um,
I'm not even Catholic.
Let's get back to this though. But no, this game is, and the reason you just said what games right now
I just
are that were around at the beginning of this period that aren't around right now. Not many, because this is the beginning of AAA, like real AAA.
Right.
This is when it became the way it is, and like
Became a business, Paul.
yeah, it
Like
became a
when
business.
when it wasn't, you weren't just happy to get a new game. Like, oh, one game came out this month. It's like, what games came out this week?
yeah, exactly.
I remember when this was, they re-released
5 years
it
before this year.
as like the greatest hits or whatever.
Yeah.
that was the
Platinum.
first.
that was like one of the first.
Platinum, that's what it
Yeah, it
was.
was like one of the first
And I was
platinum
like,
hits
whoa,
too.
And I think
Yeah.
I have a copy of the platinum version
Yeah.
of it.
Right.
And like, I don't remember them ever doing that for anything.
It was they did it. PlayStation had greatest hits on their first system, but it was. I mean, it was like Gran Turismo. It was like the best-selling game. It was like
it was legit greatest hits.
It was it
wasn't games they needed to sell more
but
of.
This was this had to be in '99 because that game came out in '98. So this had to be, and this was in the death throes of that system because PS2 came out in October of 2000. Yeah, and then almost immediately, so the Xbox came out in November of 2001, November 15th, 2001, and so then this one, same day as GameCube. I think. I don't know. Somebody's going to correct me on that. And then, what's it called? I think like a year later, they were doing platinum hits already because it. And so I guess when this game came out in 2003, I'm sure it became platinum hits almost immediately.
Probably.
If it sold, I think it had to sell 500,000 copies. I don't know though.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I used to do that.
a correction, or not a correction.
I know, but I don't think it. Platinum means million. Look it up,
in
idiot.
Greece.
Look it up, stupid face.
Luke Games wanted to write in because Mike was angry with him last time.
Luke Games.
Who was I angry with?
Games. Luke Games was the one who said that the characters look blocky.
But
I don't remember what you said because your opinion doesn't.
Hold on,
matter.
you said you were friends with him at the end of it. You were like,
I mean, we're
now.
friends.
He said because he was
Luke
like
Games, we're the best friends.
because he said when he talked about graphics, he wanted to point out that he just thought the Xbox had a little bit more power than it actually did at the time. I think he meant in more of like a. Oh, I thought back then that this had a lot more juice than it did.
But everyone always thinks that.
Yeah, rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
Everyone always thinks
But
that.
he wanted to say that he's glad you're friends, and he also misses manuals.
Oh, I miss manuals too, my
See,
friends,
now you
whose
are
opinion
friends.
totally matters to me, and I love. What's his name?
Luke Games.
Luke Games.
Luke Games.
It's not his real last name.
His real name's Lou Diamond Phillips.
would
I know
be
it's you, L.
ironic.
I know it's you, LDP. You know what's funny is I saw some footage online of what this looks like on Steam.
Well, Bomba, man.
And did you tell me the frame rate on Steam is good? Because whatever footage I was watching, it looked horrendous.
Well, maybe somebody just captured it.
No, I don't think I think this game looks horrible on my computer.
Okay, because I was going to say, the frame rate's not terrible.
It doesn't run well
on
either.
Xbox, but apparently it doesn't look great on Steam. And I'm going to say something that's a little weird. Is it me or do black people look especially awful in this game? Like,
Whoa!
especially.
What the fuck, dude?
No, I'm
We
serious.
probably have like 2 black listeners.
I'm serious. I feel racist for playing this. Like, not as much time and consideration went into our,
That's a
melanin
thing.
rich brothers from
That's
another
a real
continent.
thing. That's a real thing. That's a real complaint that they don't.
I'm being serious.
No, they don't spend as much time on the models for black characters a lot of times.
I really didn't like that.
It's
I'm
horrible.
not trying to sound like like a bleeding heart liberal or whatever. I was like, yo, we're supposed to have like this galactic equality in this like
Oftentimes, like they
this fantasy game, but
they just like paste a shade of dark skin onto like
Yeah.
a white person.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like they're in
I'm sorry, guys.
blackface.
That's not how it works,
it's
guys.
it's terrible. It's terrible. I don't know.
Lucas,
It was the guy who sounded like the guy who sounds like Morgan Freeman in the game. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Well, the first guy sounds like Morgan Freeman's white. And then that voice actor clearly makes a
the
appearance.
soldier?
Like,
Yeah, the soldier, yeah.
5 hours later in the game
Yeah.
is like he's a black guy.
Yeah, talking about the graphics, Lucas McIntyre wrote in and said something about how the starched robe glued to your legs when you're running, how it looks ridiculous. Dude, that's something I forget about a lot too. Like, we talk about graphics and polygon counts and new textures and better textures, but you know what the real problem is? Fucking materials and hairs and stuff like
making
that.
shit look like
Dude,
real fabric? That's
dude.
like impossible.
Dude, that's like we're just starting to be like okay.
Because it used to be bitmapped, right? Is that the right word?
I don't know.
Where they would
think so,
they
yeah.
make a palette and they like slap it on there and they're like,
Yeah.
there's your texture instead of it
Yeah,
actually
right.
being a 3-dimensional texture.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
Because it couldn't handle that many polygons.
Yep.
But
Well, you get spoiled with like things like WoW too. Is they put a lot of time and effort into the way things move,
Right.
fabrics
Yeah.
and stuff.
Right.
The
Physics of
Tor
things,
does
yeah.
it pretty good. There's some wonky shit in that game.
there's
But in 2003, like that wasn't.
But there's I think that there's a level of impression, even with polygons. I think there's a level of impressionism that you can like really appreciate in a game, where you can say like, oh well, I'm imagining it like this,
Right.
And I'm not making excuses for the way Final Fantasy VII looks.
I was gonna say Final Fantasy VII, like
It's okay, but it's so bizarre that they mix those FMVs between the in game and then
Right?
what is that about?
Dude, everybody has like rectangle hands.
Yeah, and then they had the fully rendered FMVs.
Yeah.
what's
On
even
top of
weirder?
that?
Just think about the whole game. The whole game is a juxtaposition of these blocky characters on
And
these
the
fully
rendered
backgrounds that are
Oh my
beautiful.
God, Paul, thank you. They were like
Yeah.
they were like matte paintings
Yeah.
with like Legos in front of them.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like
But at the same time,
that game doesn't do that well. The reason I was saying that was because everybody was going to be like, oh, like Final Fantasy VII. Interesting, coincidentally enough, I think Metal Gear Solid does it well, where the whole world is done in an art style.
Right.
Where
You
don't-
guys, I'm not
where
playing
the
this
characters,
game next week.
The characters don't have mouths where they just nod their heads, and you're like, oh, well, he's talking.
right?
And I think that that's much more excusable than putting a, this like quote, air quote texture on something and be like, and that has bumps on it.
Right, yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
it's
but that's
clearly
like saying
flat.
like, you know what I love? I love cars. I bought this Model T and it doesn't have a fucking air conditioner. What the fuck is up with that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. No. It'd be like buying a Model T and then writing air conditioner on a piece of cardboard paper and sticking it on the dashboard.
And
be like,
sticking it on
it's
your
working.
window.
It's like I'd rather it not be there than it being like this like poor imitation of it. I
Right,
guess.
right, yeah.
I'm trying to agree with our what's this guy's name?
Yeah, and Luke
Games.
No, the last person
Luke
is Lucas
Games?
McIntyre that said something about that.
All
about
these
the,
Lukes.
about the Lucas.
Same thing. He's the same guy as the last guy. They're all the same person. It's just Luke writing us,
But yeah,
writing to us from beyond the grave.
It's me, Luke Tyler, this time.
I know what you're saying though. Like, why even try? Like I mean, no.
Try, you idiots.
No. But in the sense that like sometimes the imagination works a lot better than just
yes.
like once you break you're breaking the fourth wall
Uncanny
by
Valley,
trying
man.
this. Yeah,
We
Uncanny
ain't-
Valley.
Everybody
Yeah.
thinks we're close to. We ain't close, man.
No, dude, we're gonna scare
We ain't
ourselves
close.
when it's
Oh,
close.
I'm
you'll be-
scared. I'm scared.
You'll be creeped
Yeah.
the fuck out when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna
Just you.
What's gonna be
I'm looking at
fucking
you.
AI. That's what's gonna be.
You're not-
It's gonna be
Yeah,
AI.
Yeah, you're
I
not gonna be able to watch
Simone.
it.
Simone, bitch. That's what I want.
Yeah, you're gonna be watching. You're gonna be
Bicentennial man.
like right now you can watch anything and you're like, oh, I know it's animated, but when it gets to that point where it's like, ew,
But I don't.
That's when
I don't think that there's ever a problem like with. I don't think there's a problem in appreciating old game graphics for what they are. I just. I also think it's probably a little. What's the word? I don't know. I'm
Dildos.
It's a little dildos to like persecute them for them also being bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Did that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we are.
It was like a proto thought. It came out before I was finished.
Yeah,
thinking.
we're kind of giving them like we're giving them a hard time for being like too big for their britches.
Right.
At the
Right.
time.
Thank you.
You're trying
But
to
if
do,
they didn't do
trying to do
that-
too much with.
That's true.
You know,
If they didn't do
you're
what
right.
they did, then the
yeah,
graphics,
you have to like push
can't-
the medium. I mean, I get that.
It's like being like, oh, Roger Rabbit looks totally fucking fake. 'cause
No,
I can
Roger
tell that
Rabbit
the
looks
cartoon-
fucking
No, it
real.
looks
It looks
great,
fucking
but like,
phenomenal.
I mean, like the cartoons don't look like people though.
Oh, right.
right, but that's embracing the limitations,
Right.
and
Right.
using creativity to bring out something.
You don't think
great.
this
The
game
guy who
does that?
designed
I'm
Dead
not
or
saying this game doesn't do. I think a lot of times video games don't do that.
right.
A lot of times video games don't, but
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to do that monetarily, but
Right.
the good indie games do it.
right.
Exactly.
Dead or Alive, the fighting game,
The booby game.
the booby game. The designer of that one time said something. I can't remember the exact quote or his name actually, but he said something to the effect that like people were more receptive to the way his character models looked, obviously because they're boobs, but he didn't say that. He said they were more receptive to the way they looked because they were a representation of reality or a hyper representation of reality. So they were like, what if we could project ourselves to like the utmost? It was sort of like what he was saying.
Okay.
He's like, and this is what we'd look like. And I
Right.
think that like that was his sort of like, you know, his broad stroke to be like,
Yeah,
because
forget about it.
we look like anime characters.
Right.
But I think that there's something to that. It's like Street Fighter 4. It's like you're much more willing to accept the way those characters look
Right.
because they're sort of like this painting on your screen,
Right.
Right.
as opposed to like the character models from like the last couple of Mortal Kombat games,
Yeah.
where it's like, no, you're trying too hard to make them look like a person, and instead they just look
Well, it's the
like
Pixar
a turd.
thing. It's the Pixar thing. It's why Pixar's people always look weird and just like and stylized.
Cartoony, yeah.
They don't
but,
try
like,
to.
yeah.
They don't try to make them look.
They
like
all
real
look
people.
like those dogs from the weird Disney cartoons that you were like, why are those people look like dogs?
Yep.
Because we wanted a person, but we couldn't make a person.
'Cause
So
we
we
could-
made him a dog
Because
person.
a people is too real.
People
Of
is too
people.
real.
If you, I know I mentioned it last time, but and I know Pandemic is like in some way connected to Bioshock or excuse me, BioWare with the stuff that they developed like in the future and et cetera. But like
Right.
if you look at Mercenaries on the Xbox, which is just a year and a half newer than this game,
Right.
it's a world of difference of graphics.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like it's just night and day and just so much better. And like working within the limitations of what they had and an open world game with barely any loading screens, just fantastic. Like
Well, this was a
absolutely-
period of rampant graphical growth.
Right. It was quantum leap to quantum
Yeah.
leap to quantum leap.
Every single year was a drastic improvement.
I agree to that.
So I mean,
I agree to that.
I agree to that.
I know that's right.
Well, I think we
Guys,
should give our.
Where is the PlayStation 3 version of the Final Fantasy VII intro?
Never.
I mean, come on.
Where is it?
Where is it?
I want that. I want that too. I want the remake of that. I'm sorry, I want it.
I don't think I could ever.
It's never gonna happen.
I
But,
could never play it again, man.
go
I'm
back.
not 15.
It'll happen in 20 years. That's what'll happen.
It's like I love The Crow, but I don't feel the same way about it watching it now that I did when I was 13 years old.
let's wrap this. Let's wrap this baby up. So
Spoiler,
let's give our
Aristos.
final verdicts. We'll start with Josh because I know what his is.
Continue. I love this game.
I know.
It's a great game. There's people who will play this game and hate it, and there's people who play this game and immediately have to go get the second game. I was the latter.
This game, if you're 12 to 15, right now you should play this game. you should play Metal Gear Solid and you should play Final Fantasy VII.
Seven,
Yeah.
yep, absolutely.
You should play all those
If
games.
you have pneumonia or the flu,
Yeah.
just get this game, and you'll probably die from pneumonia.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw
Because
another
it's
one in
bad.
there.
You'll stop
You've
taking care of
offered-
yourself.
Yeah, if you don't have school during the summer, you should play this game.
Yeah, definitely.
I would throw Ocarina of Time in there too.
and Ocarina
Yes.
of Time. Yeah.
because I'm gonna get on that soapbox again.
And Majora.
doesn't hold up as an adult. I know a lot of people think so, but
I actually loved replaying that.
I just replayed it and I was like, okay.
Hey, you might be sitting in Luke's seat, but you both share also another thing.
Well, it's
Luke's
'cause
non-heart.
Your non-heart.
I was because I ate his brain for power after I murdered him.
That's true.
If Luke ever reappears on this podcast, it's only because I've deemed him to be reanimatable.
Because you were Luke the whole time.
Whoa,
Nice-
Revan Luke.
Nice read, Thelma.
What about you, Nick? What's your final verdict?
I don't think I would play just because I don't have the time to play a game.
But
like
beyond
this
the time
anymore.
thing, if you had all the time in the
if
world,
time wasn't a factor, I would probably get into this game. I just like the Josh.
I'd like you to
version
really
so much better.
you like the
I'm
Spark
doing
Notes.
it in zero credit.
I like the Josh Campfire version. so
Josh
much
Spark
better.
Notes.
Yeah. Josh Fart Notes.
That's perfect.
Spark notes.
Oh, these are
Spark
Josh
a fart note.
Fart notes
Well, he
are
doesn't. He
accurate.
farts it out in
Yeah.
different notes, and you read.
I'm
those
like a
notes and
shaman.
interpret
I
them
fart in the fire, and,
And then there was a-
pictures happen in the fire.
It's like
was
a
a great
Ninja Turtle.
explosion.
There was a fire!
Josh is like,
Fire
here's the real,
Fire.
here's the real Starch Ford, motherfucker.
You don't have battle meditation. He has story farts.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
farts.
yeah.
I
That's his
expect him
Jedi
to that.
power.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
I have battle masturbation. But I got kicked out of the army for that.
Mike, final verdict. Kicked
I'm gonna make this quick. Like I said earlier, I don't find the game compelling. I like the story. I think it's interesting.
I need constant mental attention.
but I will continue.
Whoa!
I will continue.
Throw a curveball!
I will continue because of Josh's beaming endorsement, because of all the implications that we said that might be said about this game and about game design in general. Like, maybe to have this experience. I started playing it. I might as well finish it.
Right.
I don't mean that's more damning than I mean it to sound. And if it's good, I have the sequel. Maybe I'll crack the spine on that one too.
It's a little more upsetting.
But I have to
less
say,
happy.
as far as a video gaming experience, this was not, for all the praise it got for all that time. Just
I think, you know what? I'm going to give this one. I know I was talking shit about it, but I think I would go with a continue in the sense that I know that this game gets more in depth fighting wise later on, and I liked that part of the game
I'd like
later.
to get into some serious fights.
But only way I would play it is with the caveat that I gave Nick. If I had a ton of time, if I had the same time I had when I was 19, I could sit around and play this all summer. Fantastic! I would play this
Right.
game.
Well, when I was 19, I was getting out and get laid all summer. So that's a total lie. I was raping everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
Holy shit!
Yo,
We got a raper on the show!
Yo, you went full blown Sith.
Were that raper on?
Dark side points gained.
Yo, motherfucking Sith gonna Sith, man.
But yeah, I think I would probably give this a continue. But anyways, guys, we'll do some 5-star reviews in a second. But I want to say, write in, email, or actually on the comments on YouTube, you can leave us a comment. Let us know if you continue or game over. You could also write us an email. Be sure to get your stuff together for Metal Gear Solid.
Get your shit together is
Get
what
your
he meant
shit
to
together.
say.
You
Fucking-
better, because that game requires
And-
shit being together
and
in order.
everybody
in order to
who
beat
writes
it.
in for the next podcast episode for Metal Gear Solid, we want your Gray Fox. No, Foxhound. We want your Foxhound name.
Foxhound call sign.
Foxhound call sign.
Okay.
Gray Fox. Whoops. I don't know.
I want them. To
You'll know what it is once you start playing. I want every nobody writes in with their stupid normal David King. Everybody's David King. I want Foxhound. Fox
How dare
Dog.
you say
I want-
about that about King of
King
David?
of- He's the king of David.
I'm no David. He's not my king.
He's the king of David, and King David was a king.
Dude, that's great.
That's fantastic. I think it'd be cool if everybody had
That'd
a
be pretty
Foxhound
cool.
name.
Yeah.
I want the people to sum up the plot in a tweet.
In one tweet.
In one
140
tweet.
characters. All right.
Send
dude,
it. Send
yeah,
it to
and tweet it to us.
Continue show.
Yeah, tweet at Continue Show with
Yeah.
with the sum.
And
the
send
summed
it
up.
an email. We'll read
To
them.
Metal Gear Solid.
And send us emails with your thoughts. Bullet points are always nice, guys, because it helps us go through them and give the and get the gist of them pretty quickly. Because sometimes we gotta put the show notes for this together pretty quick. But I'm gonna read some 5-star reviews. First one comes from Poundman Just short enough to read on 5-star reviews. Sweet graphics.
Yeah,
Great
he
fix.
He game in the system.
Daniel Baumberger says, good job, guys.
Baumberger.
Not a great job. Good enough. Enough to make Daddy secretly proud.
Thanks for writing in, Dad.
Harbinger Zero wrote, Nerds Assemble, nothing but a bunch of poseurs.
Oh my god!
That's
a
right.
Ready Player.
It's a Ready Player One reference. At first I was like,
I hate that guy because don't reference it. Don't reference the book. Even though I did it in this podcast, I can do what I want though.
This sounds really interesting. Humble Hasselhoffering.
All right.
Graphical genius at work.
These are so good.
Luke Axelrod, it's great, really. Says it never fails to make him laugh, and he's excited to find out about who the special guest will be every single week. This week he actually was surprised.
Yeah.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Paul's old boss. This podcast is perfect.
Paul, protect you. Guys, Paul, protect Paul's penis.
Anthony Gons, simply brilliant. Wait, oh my god, this guy works. This podcast is the best ever. It's the only reason Costco at 4 a.m. is tolerable. Damn.
Oh, that's
Wow.
nice.
PS Go Phil's in Union.
Yeah.
David James King. Awesome. 5 stars.
That guy's a serial killer.
Yep.
Dude, that's another David King.
Yep. Cobalt Plasma. Satisfying from start to tangent cast.
Cobalt Plus was
I
probably
think it's
really
start
hot.
to taint. I was gonna be like, you ain't kidding, brother.
And last one I'll do this week. Scoob, ? Must listen. And he said, Nick Murphy, where's the video? Unsub.
Yeah, I like that guy.
All right, we'll leave it at that. That's it for this week. Thank you guys for writing those in. Be sure
Thanks,
to give
guys.
your 5-star reviews because it helps us out. Hey, someone wrote in and was like talking about how we were doing that, and it's obvious to get us higher ratings in the iTunes store. Yeah, it is.
That's
And you know
why
what?
we do it.
It's not a bad thing to make something and to want more people to watch it.
To listen to it.
Yeah.
Is there
Hey,
anything
guess
wrong
what?
with that?
Everything you consume media-wise has a call to action in it.
Yes.
This is our call to action. You think fucking tweets and like hashtags show up on fucking ER because they want fucking like hashtag ER?
We want people to talk about it. Yeah, because they want you to watch it.
Yeah. Call to action, bitch.
The only shows I watch are the shows that no one else watches, and then I only think about watching those shows because those are shows with credibility.
Because you're thinking about it. It's you.
I mean,
'Cause you're
I-
the center of the universe.
I mean, I don't like anything that's good or that other people like.
Right.
Only the things that maybe I'll like someday. Why do people get angry at other people like?
you know what, though?
They're young and on the internet, Mike.
Here's
That's
the
why.
thing. It was.
Well, he hasn't stuck his penis in anything yet, obviously.
I think it was.
that's
I think
clearly
it
why
was.
he's
Well,
angry.
you don't know that.
Well, the couch doesn't count.
We've all fucked the couch.
I think it was an offhanded comment, but listen, guys.
I'll give him an offhanded
we're,
comment.
we're making content that we want you guys to watch
Right.
and enjoy and be entertained by.
I don't want that guy to watch.
We want more people to watch and be entertained by it because one, yes, these things we do try to earn some money through because we want to be able to do it more often.
full time to entertain you.
To entertain you.
Symbiosis.
The end
It's a symbiotic relationship.
point of every effort that we make is to make more entertainment for people like
For you.
Because we like making things.
That's what we want to do more than anything in the entire world is to be able to make a living, not get rich, but to make a living so we can spend our entire
That
lives
only counts-
entertaining other people.
Only one
That's what we
Ferrari
wanna do.
each. That's
Right.
not
Oh, well,
too much to
I
ask.
want my kid to be like, look, Dad, I want to go to Brown. And be like, all right, well, Daddy needs to make another podcast.
Right.
I might
on.
want to
Also, Brown?
Brown?
You want to go
Come
to
on.
Yale?
Come on,
Harvard?
Sarah Lawrence.
Brown?
Thing? I don't even know.
Yeah, Sarah Lawrence.
All right, so yeah, but guys, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for the 5-star reviews. Thank you for writing in, and thank you for posting on YouTube and all that stuff. Really, we appreciate it. It helps us. And we even bigger. We fucking love you guys for what you did for Kickstarter.
Yes.
Even though it's gonna make this a
True.
little less evergreen, I really appreciate you guys
Thank
doing
you
that.
so much, guys.
It was unbelievable, and your support is just immensely helpful.
Thank you for everything.
More Kickstarter podcast intermingling
Yeah.
information and stuff coming soon.
Yeah,
So
this is a really great thing for us because
Stay
usually we
tuned.
put something out and we get your feedback and your support after the fact. This was the first time that we were saying, hey, we want to do something, and you guys sent us support and feedback immediately before we made it,
Yep.
which is great, which is
Yep.
great. We've never done something like this before. We're so excited about
Yep.
this.
So thanks, guys, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of ContinueCast. My name is Nick.
I'm Paul.
I'm Josh.
We got a special guest, Mike Sadorf. Oh, sorry. I don't do that for that.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
My bad. I'm sorry. All right, so Rolling Stones are going on tour again. This is now the music cast now. But their tickets are like $500 each, right? So what band would you pay $1,000 to see?
Goddamn. $1,000.
$1,000 is a lot of money.
People are already paying $500 to see a band that's basically mummified on stage.
People pay a lot of money to go to museums and see
mummies.
Yeah, mummies and
But not
old
$1,000.
paintings.
You get in for like $25.
So $1,000 to see any band at any time, like time travel money.
Yeah, you can time travel.
Is this time travel money? Or is this...
Like, can I see Led Zeppelin 1968?
Right. Is that a
No.
thing?
Okay.
Whoa, come on.
Yeah, you kind of have to do it because you could be like, well, I ain't going to pay for any fucking band.
I don't pay more than $35 to see a band.
Yeah, all right. So $1,000.
No, going to see it, be able to, like, if I can go anytime and see any band anytime, and then I can come back and live the life
It
that
costs
I'm living right now.
$1,000 to time travel to see them.
Yeah.
$1,000 gets you 2 tickets. One to time travel back in time.
Wait, so we are going
one to get in.
So we are going to see them. We are
In their
seeing
prime
in
whenever you want.
At the time, we're not bringing them back now.
No.
Right.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because someone would shoot John Lennon again.
Oh.
Yeah. This time-
Only if they read Catcher in the Rye, which nobody does anymore.
So, time travel ticket and band ticket. All right?
Wait, why do I need to buy
Not
both?
everybody.
$1,000 gets you...
The band to see the band anytime you want?
Yeah, gets you the ticket to time travel. And you
Okay.
also get admittance to their show.
Okay.
I think I would go back to a 1955 just like Buddy Holly concert,
Dude,
just like
that's
one of the in like a gym, just fucking
Yeah.
and like just watch people react to that music being played for the. Well, I mean, not for the first time because they stole it from black people.
But those white people hadn't heard it
But
before.
those white people never.
The first time the white people were like,
It's funny you said that because
Right.
I was like, man, maybe Little Richard. That'd be
Yeah, no,
that'd be
yeah,
to
Little
see
Richard,
him like
yeah.
stand and just smashing that
Yeah.
piano.
I didn't see like
Jesus.
Chuck Berry
Chuck
or something
Berry,
like
yeah.
that.
See Marty McFly tear it up in that gym.
Oh my god!
What was it? The Dance Under the Sea? No.
Yeah,
Enchantment
Under
Under
the
the
Sea.
You pay all that money to go back in time to see a black musician, and then you get killed as a white guy. Having had done that,
I got there, yeah.
be worth it.
That's pretty good.
Further the cause. Civil rights.
That's right. That's right.
I want to be part of the cause.
Come back and everything's changed.
That's right. No,
Raining donuts.
So that's what you would do?
I helped.
That's what I would do.
I
Pretty
helped.
cool. I like that. What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you already
$1,000
said it.
Yeah, I mean, to see Led Zeppelin. To see Hendrix would be.
I was gonna say that too.
I can't even. I can't imagine.
Apparently
I can't
he
even.
was like-
I can't imagine what that would be like. I would. You know what I would do? And I know this is going to sound like but to see Hendrix at Woodstock when like nobody was paying attention,
Right.
Yeah.
and him playing the Star Spangled Banner, and
Yeah.
you knowing that like
The
that
impact of it, yeah.
that would resonate for like a half a century.
Yeah.
You know, and just like oh god, and the whole country would identify with that. What people thought was this little thing just happening in an obscure corner of New York and all,
Yeah.
and just to know that was happening,
going back in time.
that'd be
is
worth a
time
lifetime
travel.
of money.
Yeah.
Like to experience anything culturally, artistically, culturally significant like that. But to like go to like a show and see a band, I don't know, Bowie at like the Tower in like '75 in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
That'd be
That's a
awesome.
great
Go
album.
to see the anyone at CBGB's, but primarily like going to see
Yeah.
like
I saw
the
mindless self-indulgence at
the
CBGB.
Shut your
shit,
front
that's
door.
awesome.
What'd you
Are you
say?
kidding me?
Mindless self-indulgence.
Did
It
you
was a
really?
secret
Nice.
show.
Dude,
That's
great.
awesome.
It was for the live album. I'm in the liner notes.
What?
Yeah, so
See
thank you.
the
That's
red afro.
sweet.
As a thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Josh Henderson, for
That's
for
awesome.
being there.
being
Dude,
there.
that's pretty sweet.
Like seeing like the Ramones at CBGB's
Oh,
would be
yeah.
amazing, or like
Wow.
the
And
Talking Heads at CBGB's.
Yeah.
What's the Stop Making Sense to like that? I mean, that show seemed like it was okay, but everything like that seems like overblown. I know what you're saying the CBGs, so
Yeah.
like it'd be like
No,
tiny.
it's like going to see
Look,
Stop
I
Making
just want to
Sense.
see Frampton come alive. Live.
What about like what about like Laser Floyd at the planetarium? I'd pay $1,000 to see that.
You give that no
They don't do that anymore. That was like the '90s before there was internet. When the internet existed.
Talking about, man, I went to the Franklin Institute last week and saw Laser Floyd.
Oh,
I don't know what you're
shit.
talking about.
Yo, I snuck in some vodka in a Sprite bottle.
Dude,
Don't ever do
that's
that, kids.
Um,
But I don't know. There's so much great music all the time, forever and ever. You know, I guess seeing the Beatles in like a basement show would be
Yeah, that was like my,
really something.
that was like my first thing. I was
Like
like,
going to Germany and seeing the Beatles, like
yeah.
before
Oh my
they were
God.
the Beatles.
and like
Yeah.
in Hamburger, wherever the fuck
Yeah.
that famous
Yeah.
poster is from.
Well, there's that footage of like Robert Plant belting out "Whole Lot of Love" on like it was like Norwegian television in like 1968,
Yeah.
and like these kids in the audience are just like sitting there, like they're like, "What is happening?" It's
Yeah.
like that's heavy metal. Like he just invented it. You just heard it for the first time.
Right.
What heavy metal is.
Right.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, I think is like phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, if I was like a bigger Beatles fan, I'd be like, oh, I want to see that fucking rooftop concert. 'Cause that's awesome.
The rooftop concert.
I want to see them walk across Abbey Road.
I'm like on that. I think it's documented on that album.
Yeah.
Abbey Road.
They took that picture. It happened.
I'm a huge Beatles fan, and I've thought about that. It almost seems like trite though to be like, oh, you go back and see the Beatles, and also I think
It seems like the easy thing.
no.
But what kind of
also,
directors you like? Steven Spielberg?
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Steven
like,
Spielberg.
what's your favorite band, the Beatles? And also, I think the Beatles were a better studio band anyway.
Absolutely.
Like, so it's like going to see them would be cool because they played so few live
You
shows.
don't be able to hear
you know?
a goddamn thing. Fucking everybody fucking
Yeah,
screaming
Nick.
all the
What
time.
about like going to see like the Pixies in like a bar in like Boston in like
Yeah.
1988 or
That was
whatever.
kind of like my main reason for not seeing the Pixies for so long. Like they did that reunion tour, and I was like, no, in my brain,
right.
it's better.
It's better, yeah.
They're not going to look.
Oh,
like
I'm
the way they
changing
look.
mine. Kurt Cobain shooting himself in the face.
$1,000 to see that show.
Yeah.
That was- I mean, I'm sorry, Courtney Love
Murdering Kurt
Cobain in the face.
What about the first New Order show?
Yeah, like when
The
they
very first time New Order played.
Yeah, like where they were in that bar with that guy found him, or
Yep.
like even like being in like that studio audience of like that their first time on TV would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think I feel like mine's kind of weak, but like my wife Rebecca, she used to live in New York.
Oh, here we go.
I know,
Nick's
right?
well-adjusted
Nick,
life. That's all I want to hear.
I got a girl to love me forever.
Someone likes dealing with my farts every morning.
I tricked a girl one time. No, but she has like such a cool thing that I'm super jealous of.
Oh my god, yep.
So she's walking in New York, right? And she's fucking art school and not paying attention to like pop culture because when you're in art school, you just
This is the
fucking
best
do
story.
whatever.
fucking
She's
ever.
just walking in New York in fucking Manhattan, right? And she fucking walks by fucking Radio City Music Hall as fucking Foo Fighters are playing on the fucking like the mezzanine, whatever that thing
Yeah, the
is.
outcropping.
On the
whatever
It's
they
like
call
it's
it.
like the last time they were like Foo Fighters with
Pat Smear.
Pat
Smear.
Smear and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And she's just walking by and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And she just like, watched it. I was like,
And right
like,
before
for
they
us,
played,
that-
he gets up there. He's like, "This is my last
this
show.
is my last
ever."
show.
Yeah.
And I was like for
Do you
us,
remember
that's
when they
kind of
played it
like
on
history.
TV? I was like,
It was on MTV.
It was
Yeah.
live.
Yeah,
It was
I
live on
remember
TV. I was
watching it,
watching
yeah.
it live. And I was
Fucking
like,
great.
"What?"
And I was like, I'm so jealous of that.
Because
And
that
there's this
matters.
other time, like she's like, oh yeah, I was walking by and Garbage was playing. I was like Garbage the band? She's like, yeah, they're playing like the fucking like Late Show or something. I was like, oh my god, what?
That's really see
yeah,
that's
see, like
cool.
that's like a cool
Yeah.
thing because it's. I mean, like Foo Fighters are great, but like that's such a
You could go back in time and meet your wife and marry her.
dude. It would save a lot of time. We
true.
would be
True.
way more
Just
advanced
get it
right now.
But then you meet
In
her
our
at
marriage.
You'd meet her and you'd be like, Foo Fighters are playing Pat Smear's last show, and she'd be like, I don't care, and you'd be like, never gonna marry you, bitch.
Yeah.
And you'd be
Forget
over
that
it.
Whatever.
So who would you
the
do?
Hitler paradox.
Who would you do?
I would do that. I think I would go to that Foo Fighters
The
thing.
Foo Fighters thing?
Yeah,
Dude, the
it's
time
pretty sweet.
paradox you're setting up here. Is,
No, I want to
See,
go to
because
meet
you
my
can't
wife.
Go back
No,
in
no,
time
no.
and kill Hitler because if you
Right.
do, he would never be famous enough for you to ever know who he was to go back in time to kill him.
No, I would just want to go and see that.
But the reason why you love Rebecca is because
Don't
she,
have sex
she
with
had
your
this
wife?
thing with
No,
you.
I don't want to.
It's
I don't
not
want to see
about the
Rebecca
Rebecca
there. I don't care about Rebecca being there.
Oh, okay.
I want to be there. I want
Paradox
to be there, Mike.
avoided. I don't know. I don't know that I would ever spend $100 to see a band play. Do you remember when
Really?
Zeppelin got back together a couple years ago, like in like the late '90s, a couple
I saw
years
it.
ago?
That's
I went
different,
there.
though.
Did you really? Not No
With
Quarter.
Jimmy Page?
Yeah, the Page one. Yeah,
And the Black Crows?
yeah, that one.
I
That
did
one.
that.
That's different.
I don't
That's
know.
it's different to pay to see a band. It's different to pay $500 to see the Rolling Stones now because you're like, I paid.
You can. That's just bragging rights to be like, I
Yeah.
saw the Rolling Stones.
I saw
I
one
paid,
time
like-
that they didn't die on stage.
Yeah,
because at some
yeah.
point they're
I
going
saw
to die
one.
on stage.
I paid I think like $80 or $60 to see Neil Young, and it was like that was a moment just to be like, because Neil Young's like one of my favorites, and I was just like, I'll just see Neil Young, and that's what
Yeah.
it'll be. It'll be like, and it wasn't. It was still really good actually. He's got a great voice still.
That's what happens. You always have these like reservations about it, and then you're like, I should have done this forever ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I agree with that. Every time I'm like about to go to a show, I'm like, I don't want to do this, and then afterwards you're like, I don't know why I don't go see this band all the time.
Why am I
Because
not in a band?
I went.
I could do that.
Well, I got to see Deftones in their habitat
That's fucking
in
great.
LA, and I mean I've seen them like 3 or 4 times, but like I saw them at the Troc, and like
Yeah.
it was like there were 100 people there maybe, and it was like right after like Chino Marino stopped doing cocaine, and so like he was like 5,000 pounds, and he had broken
Yeah.
wrists, and he was like playing guitar with a broken, and it was like awesome. We were right there at the stage.
He was
But-
covering Weezer songs.
yeah, no, for real.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike, I had Napster, all right? I know.
Absolutely. But when I went to like LA, it was like,
Share
you know,
Bear?
there were like 5,000 people there, and it was like a big, you know, like an Electric Factory size show. That's at a
Yeah,
venue in Philadelphia.
I'm going to start some shit right now. I saw Thrice open for them. Thrice was better.
Whoa!
They are.
We're
They're
not
really
friends
good.
anymore.
You know what I like better? You know what I like better than Deftones? Glassjaw. Even though they're a complete Deftones
They're
ripoff.
They are the biggest Deftones ripoff.
They're a
but
huge ripoff. I think they do it better.
They're okay.
Wow.
I think they do it better.
Well, they
than
did
Deftones.
that better.
statement.
Deftones now.
I saw them at Ozfest.
Right.
Deftones now is a very different.
And got
band.
Contact High. I didn't even have to pay for that shit.
I only licked like 20 girls' faces when I got contacted.
You know
but I
the
mean, like seeing a band like I think in their element,
prime.
like like I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't their prime. It wasn't like during White Pony. It was during Saturday Night Wrists. I saw Deftones, but it was like in LA, and it was an LA audience that went out to see them, and it was in Hollywood and everything,
Yeah,
and like
right.
it was like just the thick of the stupid, it was
Yeah.
just the dumb shit, and it was great.
Well,
but
if I was going to pay $1,000, I just saying that I think it's so lame because it's like so obvious. But I would pay like $1,000 to see Talking Heads at CBGB's. I think.
Yeah.
I'd pay to see
I
that
could see
because I'll never get David Byrne
David
and
Byrne
everybody
in New
together.
York.
Yeah, like I mean, he lives in New York, doesn't he?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Like
and we're both like, yeah, and now somebody's gonna be like, no, he doesn't. He lives in
Yeah.
My
Chicago.
beautiful New York.
so like you'll never get that again, and I think I'd pay for that. But like a band that's like they'll probably play again at some point. But I saw them every time they played was Reggie and the Full Effect.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
dude, that's
the,
great.
The best out of all that pop punk emo shit.
Yeah.
It's a joke band.
Yeah.
Their songs are the only songs of that era really that I can still listen to and be like, this is fucking awesome. Get Up Kids I
Get
can
Up Kids
listen
are
to.
alright.
Get Up Kids I can still listen to because same writer, so it's like and
Midtown?
saves the day. I listen,
Saves the day.
I've listened-
Story of the year.
Saves-
Midtown.
No,
all of
saves
it.
the day. No, not
Saves the
saves the
day.
day like
What's
the
that
shit
other
that
band
not
we
the
were
late
talking
saves the
about?
day
Taking
Out of
shit.
this
Sunday.
package.
Hold on,
Dude,
hold
I
on,
gotta
hold
talk
on.
about that.
Yeah.
Not late saves the day shit. I'm talking Through Being Cool saves the day, which that album is fan
I don't know.
fucking tastic.
You gotta pass it my
Through
way.
Being Cool is. Did you ever hear this band Lifetime? They were an old punk band from
No.
like popish punk band from Jersey from like the early '90s, and they were fucking awesome. They actually came back. They're still back in around now. Kid Dynamite, the guitarist Dan Yemin from Kid Dynamite was
No.
in there.
I'm like, no, you're wrong.
Anyways, but they were
No
they were like an integral punk band for me growing up. I loved them. Saves the Day took their sound exactly and just made it a little bit more like radio friendly, and that's what Through Being Cool is like. It's like a really poppy Lifetime album, an even poppier Lifetime album.
All I know is you
Fucking
put on
perfect.
some brand
I
new
like-
and you get to finger some chicks.
This kid is 100% correct on that. I love. I don't want to say power punk. I think that's their punk pop.
punk.
Yeah, like even the pop screamo. I thought was okay.
Ozma.
Like Rory. Like bands like that and all, I like that stuff. I think that was like fun. I feel like I was just a little too old for it.
But Reggie and the Full Effect took all that stuff and made fun of it, but then yet somehow their songs felt more sincere than any of the songs they were making fun of.
Yeah.
Listen, I was just listening to the album on the way up. We were driving up to Boston.
You
We were
gotta give me
listening
all
to
this
it.
music now.
Dude.
Now I need another half a terabyte of
When we
music.
make our
from the
movie,
ball.
Reggie and the Full Effect's being in the soundtrack. Dude.
Whoa!
That shit is
The
fucking
movie has to take
awesome.
place in 2006.
Yes, it
Early
does.
spoilers.
No, dude. We're talking like
2003.
2001.
Yeah.
Reggie and the
Yeah,
Full
yeah,
Effect
yeah.
is like
High school.
2000,
Yeah,
2001.
Dude,
yeah.
that'd be great, man.
Yeah.
Nick, Adam and his package.
Yeah.
Cool local band.
Yeah.
Also, Rebecca's story. So shut the fuck up.
Guys, this tangent
Rebecca and I
isn't
were
over
friends
yet.
back then, and I was like, oh man, I really want to go see this band. It's his last show ever. And she's like, oh, Adam and his package, and I'm like, and we were supposed to go, but I was just like, yeah, I don't really want to go.
You
You're
told
like,
me
now
that-
let's
brand
make
new
out.
and you finger banged it.
Thank you for listening to the ContinueCast. Our theme music is written and performed by Chris Connolly, aka DataCats. Check out his Facebook page at facebook.com/datacats. The ContinueCast is produced by Paul Ritchie, Nick Murphy, Josh Henderson, and our special guest, Luke Brown. Email us at continuepodcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/ContinueShow, and follow us on Twitter at ContinueShow.
Hey everybody, this is Luke. My wife and I are game journalists, and we are currently working in the industry. And she, along with about 50 other members of the game journalism industry, some people from game development and the mental health profession, have started a new initiative called the Take This Project. And if it's all right with you, I'd like to share their mission statement. Mental health is a hard thing to talk about. Depression and anxiety can be overwhelming, but so easily dismissed as just feeling sad or needing to relax. It's far too easy to simply not talk about these problems. They sap your motivation and self-worth, making you feel like nobody cares about your suffering, and so we suffer alone, quietly. The Take This Project understands the complex reality of these problems, the immense relief on a day when you feel great, the sinking feeling when you sense the trap doors start to open underneath you, and the simple exhaustion of living when you're at your worst. It's dangerous to go alone. Take This is meant as a helping hand. We're here for empathy and for support. We share our stories and our time in the hope that anyone who is living with a mental health issue doesn't have to go through it by themselves. We've been there. We've had loved ones who have been there. And we want to help. We want to talk. We want to hear from you. We want you to live the life you deserve. Take This. The Take This project consists of around 50 members from within games journalism, games development, and the mental health profession and other industries, and is a new outreach program which you can reach on Facebook at facebook.com/takethisproject and can be found on Twitter at takethisproject. So that's something that we're helping out with, and it would be great if you guys could check it out and continue to give us support, and we'll give you support.